All right, it is 6 o'clock. We'll bring this meeting to order. It is Thursday, December 15th, and not present yet is Joe Pulcini, but he said he was going to zoom in, so we'll see. Other than that, everyone else is here.
Jim Bugello.
And Jim Bugello is not here.
Yeah, but he cannot make it, so. Okay, yeah.
Okay, call to order, audience of citizens, anyone here for audience of citizens online or present? Hearing none, move along. Approval of minutes, last month we had a little issue, so Gail stepped up and took the minutes, everyone got a copy. Are there any corrections, omissions, changes?
I make a motion to accept the minutes.
I'll second that.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Gail. Old business, anyone for old business?
I got a couple things here. Why does it say none, first of all? Because there's stuff that even the last, the notes, minutes from last month. At the end, you added to that, and there was one that Jerry's gonna get us estimates on the traps, right? You're gonna look into that. And there was one of them. You're gonna check with the CSC PGA and USGA on architectural possibilities that they have, and redesigning, correct? Okay, so you can give us updates on that one.
Sure.
We've been talking about seasonal P and L. I mean, we're in seasonal business, right?
We are seeing, but we're a town, we're fiscal.
I understand. And we're seasonal business though.
Right.
So we've been talking about this for a year now, and more than a year. I can go back to at least 3 or 4 months now about seasonal P and L that was going to be provided.
Now, that information would come from finance.
Yeah, but that's something that Jonathan actually used to put together also. And we were getting that for the longest time. And it just, it stopped.
We don't, I mean, I didn't have access to that. What about, I don't, we have
You're the
the
expert
day,
right?
why, yeah.
Yeah, but that's okay. What you have to do is track out 6 months and then you have the first 6 months of the year, right? You're in. If you have the July, was it June 30th, year end,
Mhm.
you subtract out, from December, right, December 31st. You'll have the first 6 months of the year. All expenses, right?
Is that information that's not been given in the past?
It has been given in the past.
So you have it already?
No, it has been given in the past. We haven't had it. We've been asking.
Every meeting, there's a P&L update?
There's a P&L for a fiscal year. We are a seasonal business.
I think I just wanted to stop and back up if we could. Number one, I'd like to welcome Saul Guerrero as our new director of golf. Okay, that's number one. Saul comes from Ellington Ridge. He's been here in Connecticut for the past couple of years. He's been out west of California. He's been down south to the Carolinas. But his last tenure was at Ellington Ridge. And I'd like to welcome you, Sal.
Thank you,
I've had
Jared.
the opportunity to work with him since Monday. And I can say this, I'm very impressed with him. He's a very intelligent man. Very firm, and I like that. So again, I think he's gonna do a wonderful job in this position, which frees me up to not be doing 3 things at once, so. And I appreciate that. I appreciate it coming from the town. I appreciate Saul, getting the position. And again, in the future, any inquiries you might have, please direct them through Saul, because he's the top man, and then it all filtered down from there.
All this P&L stuff, you have to give me a chance to get the stats. It's my 3rd day.
No problem.
Right.
No problem.
Once I get it, you'll get it.
That's not, but it's under old business. All these things are just, it says none. But I'm just trying to add. Like,
I made the agenda. I was not here in the last one.
that's all. It has nothing to do with you.
Well,
It goes month after month after month.
every meeting, do you get an update of
Fiscally,
P&L?
fiscally, we get a
No,
fiscal.
even let's say we had a meeting last March. Did you get some there?
No, we've been asking.
So when you had a meeting last March, you weren't getting updates?
Not on a seasonal P&L.
Fiscal year, we get.
Fiscal year, you get all the time, that just spits out right out of the system. But to get on a seasonal basis, just so we can plot year after year
Yeah,
where we're standing, comparison purposes.
can you give me a timeline? I'll work on it.
Yes, I mean, it's
No, just tell me the months and years. If you want.
any year, just
So
do
you
last
just
year.
want January to today.
If you got expenses January today, this year, and versus last year, or whatever, I mean, it's,
Just give me the time.
yeah, that's it.
Give me the timeline.
January 1st to December,
Okay.
usually to December 31st,
Got it.
calendar year.
Yeah.
Simple.
You're good.
Thank you, sir.
That's all I need.
You got it.
Anything else?
Okay,
Go ahead, son.
are we gonna introduce ourselves then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We went straight to business. Set, right?
Yeah, so,
How you doing?
you're gonna miss it, Arlington Ridge.
Sorry?
You're gonna be missed at Arlington Ridge.
Already.
I said, hello.
Guys, send you.
Yes.
Sir. Thank you.
Is that it for old business? So
But yeah, how about the clocks? I mean, it was a,
Well,
what's a good bit of
I
clock?
will say this, that the clock is in a committee and has nothing to do with the commission. All right.
But as
We,
far as,
we can give you.
We could,
if
you'd be
you'd like
able
to
to
know,
do that if you'd like.
we can add that to
No,
the
okay,
agenda,
all right.
we can add that.
those three things are just,
Okay. Okay, moving along. All right, new business.
Well, let's go around the table. Let's introduce the Sal so he knows who's who.
Those,
Introduction of the.
new good.
Yeah, see,
Saul made the agenda, so you want to do the introduction now, not before. Right, Saul? All right, everybody, welcome Saul. Saul's, I've sat in on the interviews with Saul. And we were all very, very impressed, and, I stopped by the course the other day, and chatted was good, so. He's gonna hit the ground running. I'm on Jerry's, same level that I think Saul's gonna be perfect for this, so. Saul, what impressed me the most is that he said, listen, I don't know all there is to know, but if I make a mistake, it's only gonna happen once. So that was awesome. That was a kicker for me. And the firing development too. That's awesome. So anyway, you know me, if I was your chairman of the golf commission. Just
The
gonna
golf pro Mark Bayring. Think we've met David.
Nancy Berger.
Jim Norton.
Sub-Senior.
Bill Richards, Vice President and the Senior Guidance League.
And I'm Gail Lanier. Part of SNUGA as well as the ladies group.
Alina 608 Joe Pulcini. All right, Saul, anything you want to say?
Just happy to be here, happy to be part of the team. Being with Timberland, and I'm here to work with everyone. So just give me a chance to get through your requests, and it'll happen. So just all I ask for is just be patient and give him the night off. Sorry.
That's a passing the torch, man.
It's like the Godfather. Semi-retired. Everything goes
One
to
of the
Mike
best.
now. Everything goes up to Mike.
Don't forget to take a good hold.
Classic.
All right, well, Saul, welcome again.
Thank you.
All right, the budget. Jerry, where do we stand on the budget?
Well, the budget is, it's complete, but there's still some things we're working out. We didn't know with Saul coming in, what insurances he'd be taking. The budget itself was done, minus Saul, minus getting Saul's input regarding the pro shop and the staffing of the pro shop, the cart corral, the range and so forth. So there was some numbers put into there, into that part of that line of the budget. Now Saul has the opportunity to look at that, and drawing from his experience in the pro shop will be able to guide us as to if that line item needs to be adjusted up or down. And obviously with, as far as his health insurance and so forth is concerned, that's all been taken care of. So that part of the budget can be finalized. Everything else is pretty much, I don't want to say etched in stone because you're always able to change, but that's pretty much your budget. That's pretty much your budget as you see it.
The one that we got.
Yeah.
And the line that you're talking to around salaries is the starters, rangers, golf carts line, that may,
That may,
Black.
again, we're gonna defer to Sal.
Yeah.
To solve for that.
okay.
I think we're also changing POS systems, so there's things that may change with that, with those lines. As far as like some charges and
Yeah.
stuff, so. I know we have I think, is it Tuesday, we have a meeting?
Yeah.
It's about the new POS system, so we're hoping to finalize that soon after the New Year's. And then as we finalize all that, we can pretty much finalize the budget, so.
And then to that end, with the new POS system, we're looking at the bank charges that are currently in the budget. Again, after we have the next meeting, like Saul said, next Tuesday, we'll know better, but it's possible. I'm not gonna say it's probable, but it's possible that that line goes away. And then the customer would absorb the fee. But
So it's gonna
again,
be an add-on. Is that what-
yeah, it'll be a surcharge.
Good, no, but that's,
So it's being explored. I don't want to, and I don't want to speak for him, but I don't want to commit to anything, but that line may go away.
Who told me that the municipality can't pass that charge on to the customer? You remember that?
yeah, we do. Kevin was talking about
Yeah.
that, because the town, but the town,
Remember that.
the town does, yeah, the town talked about that when it came down for the property taxes, right? And the states usually do the same, because you're getting, the 97 cents on the dollar, any 95 to 97 cents on the dollar. But I think the town's charging extra now too, if you want to use a credit card.
They are for building permits.
That's the bank charges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, yo, I see that you're here. You want to say hello to the new golf director, Saul?
Saul, good evening. I'm not, I'm a little under the weather and I didn't want to come in and risk anyone getting sick, so hope to be at the next meeting. I look forward to working with you as we go forward. I think it's going to be a lot of fun and just really happy to have you on board.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. I'm gonna mute you now.
What are the odds on that one?
All right, so rate discussion, I mean. We gotta start looking at that, right? Saul, are you putting together an initial list of rates and then we're gonna discuss them after?
Correct. This is just the start of the discussion. We're already researching with neighboring clubs, neighboring courses for their green fees, card fees, range fees, season passes. And with the, increasing cost of running a business, that's where the discussion starts. Yes. But yeah, I'll have to research, Stanley, is it Rolling?
Hunter.
Hunter.
And,
Rockledge. So,
we throw something in there too. just-
I know when I looked at Stanley, we were behind them. But not too much. So it's not that we want to be the leader of these costs. We just want to stay in the same ballpark. So.
Okay, so the rate discussion definitely under old business for next month. Yes, Seth.
Yeah, I just want to bring up one thing about the rate discussion.
Yeah.
And just to keep it, I don't know if anybody looked at their mail today, but yeah, the assessment went up. Yeah, so one of the things that I think we really need to look at is that the residents of Berlin, they're gonna get hit with the increase in taxes for their housing. We gotta really take a look at what the rates are gonna be for residents. Because we're gonna double hit.
Well, when we say increase the rates, that doesn't just say residents, it could maybe mean just non-residents, right? So it's just something we have to research and yes, we're gonna, obviously, I know you got that in the mail today.
Yeah.
And I was at the council meeting on Tuesday, so they said all that as well, so we'll put a lot of things into factor. But we also have to put in factor, like our energy bill went up You know, gas prices went up, so, you know, we're gonna put everything in the factor.
I mean, I don't know if anybody told you, but in the last couple of years, we've done very well at the golf course, giving the money back to the general fund. All right, so, you can only go so far.
I think you're gonna see a bigger increase in the budget this year than any year past as far as percentage. So,
As far as costs.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's electricity and gas.
Yeah, get a part-time job. And what everyone to keep in mind, you're gonna set the rates for the driving range for the first time in a long time. So keep that in mind too.
Well, how about those
They're
costs?
gonna set it?
No, the town of Berkeley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The driving range cost is new
Yeah.
to our budget,
Correct.
That's correct.
but also revenue is new to that budget. But the revenue won't outdo the cost in year one. So it's gonna take some years
Several years.
to get the revenue for a range to outweigh the costs.
Correct.
Well, I just wanted to just give my input in this. We started, have for the last couple of years, had this over 90 rate.
Oh, I started that.
Yeah, and it's wonderful.
Yeah.
And I hope that we continue that, you know.
What did we sell, 6? I was surprised we sold 6. Yeah,
Well, there's one lady that is just turned 90.
I thought, I
And
think
we've
it's.
been talking about her.
She's jumping for joy, huh?
No, you know what, it gives us some incentive to get to 90.
When it was her
you know,
birthday, I
so,
said, oh, now you're gonna be able to get this
Yeah,
special.
I think it's pretty cool.
It is,
I like
it is. It's not like there's a lot of
You
people,
know,
but it is really a nice honor.
It's a nice
Yeah.
gesture.
Is that for residents and non-residents?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So all we have to do is.
so you gotta make it to 90 there, Dale.
Well, if I am, I'm not gonna be here.
Berkshire somewhere.
I'm not gonna be in Berlin, Connecticut.
Okay, anything else on rates? There's really not a whole lot we can do, so.
And as you all are aware, and we may get to this point, and Saul will be driving that, we may wind up calling a special meeting just for that.
Fine.
Because, Kevin likes to have that done
That's a good
by
idea.
January,
That's a good idea.
towards the end of January. So I'm sure Saul will be calling a special meeting just for that subject alone.
We're just looking to cover costs. We're not looking to make a profit, correct?
I don't think the town operates for profit, but it has to be balanced. Our
No, I know well.
our expenses can't outweigh our revenues, right? So if we make
I
100,
have.
we'd be fine with that, $100, like, we'd be fine with that, as long as we don't lose $100.
Right.
But about going back to the rates, Mark, are you booking stuff with the rates not finalized yet, or
Yeah.
you're still able to?
Well, everybody, I just tell them that they're not finalized till February.
Right.
They know that.
So, but it's not halting you from booking your events and stuff.
No.
But we'd like to finalize, very soon, so.
I
so we
always
can
tell
do-
folks, it's usually a 2 to 5% increase. If it's above that, so be it, but it probably wouldn't be by much, so they know every year it goes up a little bit.
When is the final budget finally approved? Isn't it April?
Okay?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So,
We go through this every year.
Yeah.
We set rates on a budget that's not even done.
Right.
Anyway, all right, we good on rates? Anybody else? All right, Dave Ciarcia, he wants a credit. Saul, do you have his play statistics?
He's 13, 18 hole weekday rounds. I think he's a non-res,
Yes.
so that's like $430 total.
The non-resident senior, well, that's what pass he got
Well, no, meaning 13 rounds
at $33.
at $33 is $429.
When was the last round that you played? Was it after June 30th?
Yes.
Didn't we have didn't we have a policy that after, as of July 1st? Okay, so,
Are there any extenuating circumstances?
what's the deal? Did you talk to him?
I did.
Good.
He's looking for credit for his next season pass, right? He's not looking for
Okay,
cash back right now. I'm not sure if I can say why he hasn't played.
no, I don't,
If it's
Okay.
medical, then no.
no,
So, there's OSHA reasons for that,
Sure.
so. But, that's what he's asking for. I think his season pass was what, $925? $925, I
And
think.
what's the pro rate?
Well,
Minus 433?
430.
Okay, 430?
Yeah.
I know that we said no refunds. What about credit?
We've set a precedent though. I mean, I'm just
It all-
throwing this out there, so we
What,
can.
we should follow our policy.
Follow
I
it.
don't
policy
think
says
that,
specifically.
I think we don't give to anyone.
But what's the policy
Well,
say?
what does our policy say? Cause that's
Does
July
anybody
one is
have
the
a,
point of no return.
does anybody
For
have a
every,
copy?
no matter what, is that what it was?
even for credit for next year?
We didn't specify credit.
We just said point of no return at that
It
point.
was
For
a point of
refund.
no return.
Let's see what it's our word on this.
Does anybody
You better
have it?
just make sure that's official, that policy. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
Was that voted on by the town council?
Yeah, it was.
It was approved, okay, well,
That was one of them.
But I don't.
is that online anymore?
Mm-hmm.
I think we need to be consistent, whatever the policy is, we stay with it.
Yeah, I don't know if
But
I
it
have.
doesn't specify credit over,
I don't think it really mattered at this point.
I think it does.
does it? I don't
I
remember.
think it
Are they on the
does.
town website, policies?
Yes,
But
I think ours are
this
under our,
policy, I have no idea.
under our site,
It's not on the Timberland golf site.
no, on the town
The
site
golf
for our,
commission site,
you have access to that?
the golf commission site.
Remember we had, a couple that couldn't get any tee times a while back and they
Mhm.
wanted,
Yeah,
refund and,
that was before that we set the policy, so
Well,
that was a couple of years ago.
no,
I think
no, that
before
was,
July.
that was recently, about a
Yeah,
year
it was
ago.
this
July
policy, I
one.
even know, is
July
on the
one.
website with some typos. It was approved by the town council July 20th, 2020. Credit, okay. Didn't we have a date? Okay, season pass, he has a season pass, right?
Right.
So there's, okay, I'll read it. Season pass credit. A credit can be issued if an individual develops a medical condition that prevents him or her from that's where the typo is on the website, from playing golf for the remainder of the season. Golf pass refund. A refund fund can be issued if an individual develops a medical condition that will prevent him or her from playing golf on a permanent basis. So they can get a credit if it prevents them playing for the remainder of the season. In either case, no credit or refund will be granted if the condition occurs after July 1
Wow.
in the year in which the pass was purchased.
Right,
Well, that's the policy.
That's a policy.
And that was approved by the town council.
Yes, on July 20th, 2020.
So I
Is it
don't,
fair to say that when the season's pass is purchased, whoever's buying it is made aware of what the policies are? Or is it basically up to them to go?
That's a good answer.
No, there was something, that's a good question, Joe, there was we did discuss this. And there was something they had, I don't know if they had to sign off on it, this year, before you bought before I bought a pass, there was something I had to
Right,
sign off on.
I don't know if that's on
I don't
there.
know if it's on, yeah, right, I
I
don't know if
mean,
it says that.
I have those.
Maybe it
those
should say.
Applications.
But it should be.
so if,
I don't remember it being on
if
there.
it's not on the application, that paragraph that Gail just read should be on the back
Right.
side or something.
Yeah,
They
it's
have
very
to
small,
mention.
the process, they don't need
Yeah,
to know the
They don't need
process,
to know the
the
process,
definitions.
but that, I mean, so,
That's our policy though. I mean,
that is the policy, so
It's unfortunate.
there isn't, a vote doesn't even need to be taken.
Can we make sure this year's forms have it
Oh, yeah.
For the
for the
upcoming-
future?
Yeah.
Or just some blurb on there that, you know, all the policies on, you know. from
Or on the
commissioner,
website.
Yeah,
Right.
apply.
And maybe
Rather than
just
put
give
everything
you a
out,
link
you
to
don't know what the
the
policy
page
is,
or
yeah,
something.
right, so
Yeah.
just put another blurb in there to cover yourself at that point to say the policies, you know, passed and voted upon by the town council per the commission or whatever, apply, that's all.
I just wanna make sure he was discussed, you know, for his peace of mind.
Well, sure.
Okay.
And if that's what we all agree on,
And you
and
could,
the policy's there, right? It's not
You could-
like we're
well, you
saying
should,
it.
I would check the
Yeah.
website and make sure it's
When
there
did
and
it-
it says this.
When
If
did
it's
the
on our
town
website, that
council
means it should-
approve that?
I have a note, it's my handwriting, July 20th, 2020.
Oh, 2020, okay,
So that's
yeah,
not
so
new.
it's not, yeah.
And that, but it is I have a note that it's on the website with typos. So it's on the website, it probably should get updated.
Updated.
Yeah.
And we also had a discussion, we asked about does the town council approve other policies like from Park and Rec? And I think we talked about the fact that they don't generally approve a lot of policies from other commissions, if I.
And you're correct.
And so we talked about, but this one, again, it was 2020.
So I don't want to speak for other commissions, but for Parks and Rec, rates, policies, guidelines, yeah, that gets presented.
Does it? Okay.
Yeah, and I don't want to speak for the others, but
Yeah, well,
Um,
I mean, this one did, I think it's a good idea to do it, but probably depends on the significance of the policy. Some are so minor that there's no money involved or revenue involved or anything.
Okay, so that's, there's no vote, no nothing, that's, it is what it is. That's the policy. Okay, number 4.
What's the consequence of our decision? He leaves? He doesn't come back, or?
Choice.
That's his choice.
He doesn't get credit, right?
Yeah.
If
No,
if he's got a medical condition, what are you gonna do? I mean, you're gonna give him the credit back, right?
No,
No,
no.
Unless it
He
was-
played in July.
Yeah.
Not if
Okay.
it's after July first,
Yeah, if it, I mean, that's one of, how can I say that? That's one of the, downfalls or the risks that you take by buying a season pass. That's just what it is, otherwise you go on a week-to-week basis, right? So
yeah.
you're banking on the fact that I play more rounds or at least as many rounds as the season pass is gonna cover. I mean, it's, cause it's really, the only other added benefit to that is if you have a season pass and you're an out-of-state resident, out-of-town resident, you have the ability to get times earlier as if you were a resident.
Yeah.
That was one of the things that we passed also, correct? And so,
Yes.
but that is one of the risks that you do take.
Also, you think about it, he's on pace to just break even. Cause a season pass is like 28 rounds.
Oh,
Right.
Oh, that would, yeah, okay.
He's just on pace to break even, so,
Okay.
you know, it's not like, he's very active,
mhm,
Yeah.
for our sake, so.
right, oh, good.
So I'll talk to him about it.
Thank you. Okay, number 4, driving range improvements. Who's speaking to that?
So,
Well, you know, obviously, since the town's taking over and, investing in some costs and trying to get some revenues out of it, you know, we're setting the price for the range now. If that goes, that means our range service has to get a little better. So the increase of rate is worth it. Things like that we may look into improving are, just right off the bat, you know, some golf balls, you know, maybe some new mats, you know, putting some time in the hitting area. But also we were thinking of, you know, maybe a machine to distribute with a token system where we can get revenue with the shop being closed still. You know, because if the shop closes at 6,
Who knows, could be 10 PM now. If somebody's there,
Well, you
it's up to
might-
you. It's up to you.
no, I mean, let's just say the shop closes at 6,
Work from home is
from
good.
6 to,
Where would they purchase the
9.
tokens though? Would they just have to buy them up front and like collect them? Cause if the shop's closed, where do they purchase?
Well, a lot of these have credit cards.
Credit cards,
yeah,
Those
yeah,
are over
right.
$10,000.
Wi-Fi.
Are you
I
guys
say
ready to spend
tokens,
that?
but, you know,
Those
you know,
machines are
Swipe,
super
right? It
expensive.
doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
well, it's just an idea.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like we've ordered one,
The ones
right?
with the tokens,
So-
you could probably get for $4,000 or $5,000.
Right.
But I mean, somebody's gotta hand out the tokens,
Mhm.
you know, didn't sell tokens.
Or you have something where they, you buy them, right? I mean, it's like
You just buy them up front.
You could buy them up front, that's
Well,
what
you have,
do on
or you
Kogan's
have,
and
yeah,
Portland.
but
That's what
not
they
even
do.
up front, you have a machine somewhere, almost like a vending machine,
Vending
right?
machine.
Oh,
And it's
And what do you do, put in the tokens and you get the
the
balls?
balls out.
Yeah, if it's not a token system, it's a card system
Yeah.
where you put value in it. There's many ways to distribute golf balls from a machine, but the idea is a machine where you can still get golf balls without staff
Yeah.
being there.
Mm-hmm,
And yeah, we just kind of those the thoughts into range improvements.
There's Jerry's looking into a continuous slab, right?
Right.
Saul and I went up to the range today,
Okay.
took a look at the range. So I have some very good ideas. Obviously, you know, we're gonna be doing or replacing, that's not doing away with replacing. I'm not even sure, but you know, so I did look at it. I told him a couple things I wanted to do to spruce up the area. I think he's in agreement. He's working on looking at some, you know, some flighted balls, as well as he's putting the cost together to present to Kevin as to what it's gonna, again, cost us to get us up and running. The machine at this point is just, it's something we're thinking about or we've thought about. Not saying it's gonna happen this year, may not happen for 5 years, may not happen at all, I don't know. But that's a decision Saul and Kevin will have to make. But I think, I have spoke to 2 different contractors and, you know, they're just trying now to finish up their work from this year. I spoke to another contractor again today, as a matter of fact, and they're still able to, if we do decide to go with one continuous slab, they're still able to get it done this winter so that we'd be ready to go next spring, if we decide to go down that road.
You
So
mean
they're-
a continuous slab, I don't know what that.
So they're just, with the slabs that we have there, they would just probably run across and just pour some concrete in between that?
No,
Are they gonna run a concrete pad? Are they, they're not gonna dig anything out?
Yes.
So you're gonna remove that one and.
so what they would do, Jim, and Saul had a very good idea, he says, you know, we've got, you know, we've got a lot of real estate behind the mats right now, we do. I shouldn't say a lot, but like Saul said, we can gain 10, 15 yards, we can push it back. You know, cause we have problems now with some of the walls, you know, flying into our parking lot, our neighbor, Mr. Hall. And Saul said, well, hey, you know, you got this room back here, I'm like, yeah, you know what, you're right, it's a good idea. But to answer your question, Jim, we were thinking to pour what's currently there goes away, you know? And then you would pour one continuous, like just say 6 foot by, I think I measured, it's like 60 or 70 feet in length. And then you could, depending on what you wanna do, you could hook back the individual mats with dividers if you wanna go down that road. You could do just a strip of turf, which there's some awesome, you know, AstroTurf, fake turf, whatever you wanna
Right.
call it, out there now, which really mimics grass. It's quite impressive, I've seen it. Pete, I think you've seen it too up at Keeney. So, you know, depending on, you know, Saul's budget, we'll go from there.
Yeah, I agree 100% because like, the driving range is, in other ways, a pig pen.
Yeah.
You know, other way of looking at it, we have
Yeah.
kids coming here playing, we got 2 high schools here that playing, and it just turns me off, being honest, it's
Yeah.
really bad.
Jim, I suggested that we take a couple of those slabs that are existing, if we can at all possible, and move them down at the bottom of the range.
That's, yeah,
So that there's a good hitting area for Mark to give lessons if he can't do it on top for whatever reason. So hopefully we can, you know, we can salvage a couple of those for the bottom of the range for lessons.
I'll just chime in real quick about moving it back though. I don't think that's a good idea for a couple of reasons. One, somebody hits a shank, they're gonna take out a car.
That's true.
2, they got the Don Bates rock there, so you can't.
Oh,
go
down
too
Bates could never go
You
away.
can't go,
No,
you
Don
can't do anything
Bates
with that, but I just think if you move it back, you're risking somebody hitting it sideways and hitting a car.
Yeah.
You know, I just think that it's at a point right now where that already almost happens.
Yes, yes,
So
sir, that's
that
correct.
was the question I had, so what about beautification of it, or, you know, trees and bushes or whatever, I mean, and give any thought to, I mean, I know, that's not.
And Porter's bench has to go up at some point.
Yeah,
Well, I know Jerry pointed out the trees immediately to the right.
Right, left, I mean, and everything is just.
Even the one on like immediate left towards 18.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's there for protection, like what Mark is saying,
Well, it's either that, you put netting up of some sort.
Something. but you know, a lot of these improvements will be that it's cost, but it's depending on how our range does these next year, next season or two, right? These improvements is not for tomorrow. It's really, we have to see how the range does, right? And
Well, you know,
That's a
so
good idea.
this,
We gotta see how it goes.
we have to see how it does, right?
yeah,
I can't predict
Yeah.
how the range is gonna do right
but
now.
at the same time,
So-
you have to kind of, the more that you start to at least do some
Yes.
improvements, you're
Well-
gonna be attracting people to wanna use
The
it.
smallest and visually,
And we wanna,
the best improvement we could do for eye candy maybe is range balls And, you know, I couldn't see your mats because there's snow on
Oh,
it.
they're terrible.
Well,
I was gonna get new ones if I
If
had
you
a
were-
range next year.
well, those two eye
I'm
candies would
glad they're
probably
expensive.
Yeah.
See where the cars are
Right.
parked there?
But you also, what you could do, is I mean, that front area, that grass gets super long at times and
Uh-huh.
it's nasty. You can make that a grass tee
Like here and there.
for events and
Right,
stuff.
right.
You can, you know,
And
That's a good
you,
idea.
when, you know,
it's
the
already there.
concrete slab, you also could aim that a little different.
Yeah.
Right, it's not like,
You could like half moon it a little bit.
Well, yeah,
not
something
shrink,
so-
but a little bit.
so it's not, you know, you're not scared of going to the right or left, everything's just funneling towards the middle. You know, with your lessons, everyone hits it straight, right?
Of course. Get them in draws.
After the lesson, something like that.
Yeah.
But I've seen people next to me like, hey, hit it sideways and go.
See, that's kind of top of the park.
If you're able to get like a continuous slab or a continuous hit,
The
Yeah.
continuous slab like Ellington has.
like Ellington, you can have
Yeah.
more than 6 spots.
You could, yeah, you could probably
Yeah.
pick up two or
Two or
three
three more
spots.
spots.
Yeah,
Wow.
no doubt.
There's a net there.
But obviously that's a cost, right?
Mhm.
So really the first thing or the fastest thing we can give for eye candy would be quality of the things that you hit golf balls or hit off. You know, mats.
Now that I will add this, the men's club, not saying there's been talk of donating something from the men's club. Now, I mean,
Someone mentioned that.
nothing has happened other than
Yeah.
talk, but you know, they usually make a donation to the town and
Yeah.
they use the range a lot. So, I mean, if they were willing to make a donation, I think the commission and everybody should be willing to accept it.
Yeah,
Well,
that
Just
was-
saying.
It's a give and take with these clubs, right? Like, you know, if I don't know who has the upper hand in these things, but you know, if they're donating, you know, hopefully that means we've given them a good service in the past, right?
Mhm.
So,
Sure.
but I know someone said that to me already this week. So, you know, that's an avenue we can go down and see, you know, how truthful that donation is. So,
I might have thought about doing it. We try to do that.
but it all boils down to everyone being happy with the changes, right? From y'all to the town, but more importantly, Mark, because Mark is the guy who's there a lot, right? I'm not the one that's teaching and making a living on the range. Mark has to be comfortable with our changes and for his play development program.
I appreciate that. I think the range definitely, and I told LaRoche this, like, I'm not charging, if you look at other courses, I basically charge nothing for range balls. So if you really spruce it up, I think you can bump up that fee and justify, you know, you
What
gotta
are
do
we,
something and justify it, but
5 and 10? No, 5 and 7.
it's 4 and 7.
4 and
And it's
7?
been that way since 2011. So I mean, it's,
wow.
Right,
you know,
exactly.
but the range
But if-
isn't the
If we're gonna
most
go above
fashionable
it,
place.
the
Yeah.
stuff there has to be also.
That's a
better.
$20
And just so you know, there's a bench, and I don't know, Jerry, what's it at maintenance? There's 2 benches that are, I'm talking like $10,000 benches that were donated that still need to go up behind the tee. They wanna put them there on the range, this family. So, just so you know that's going on. I think, what do we need, somebody to build it though?
Yeah, Parsons is gonna build it this winter.
Okay,
Build a bench.
Yeah, well, build the bench too, because they're like a lock and key kind of thing, mortise and tenon. And you can't, where she purchased them from, they didn't give her instruction as to what needs to be done correctly so that they stay together and somebody doesn't get killed. So I had Roy Parsons from Parsons Landscaping come up and I said, you know, you gotta help me out, we gotta do a couple of pads and because they donated benches, which like Mark was saying, to the tune of over $5,000. And so he's gonna do a couple of pads and he's going to assemble with special construction adhesive for masonry, or that type of masonry so that those benches are secure. Yeah. He'll be doing that this winter. I also was gonna have him do the drinking fountains this winter as well. He was gonna repoint and then cap them, get rid of the individual bluestone, which you have grout lines, which is just an opportunity for water to get in, freeze, expand, and pop. So we were gonna just do a one piece on top, whether it be out of granite or marble or whatever's or bluestone, which is probably, you know, the most cost effective between granite and bluestone. You'll never have that problem again.
We're gonna look at those new faucets too.
Are you gonna do anything on 15? The 15?
It's where the water doesn't
Yeah,
work.
the water
right
doesn't
now.
work.
Oh, yeah.
That's, town would take care of that. Apparently, there's something going on with the piping, the standpipe within the fountain itself. So that's why they abandoned that and they put the drinking fountain behind the,
So they're just gonna leave that the way it
Restroom.
is?
you know, I think it can be resurrected, quite honestly. I do.
Seb?
Yeah, one of the things, so that we wanna keep in consideration is we got two high school teams. We got the girls team and we got the boys team. Both teams have done very well over the years, a lot of state championships for both of them. One of the things that Mark had arrangements with the coaches is that they have, free balls to practice. When they come up there to practice, during the week, we offer them free range balls. So that's something that we wanna consider, going forward, that, you know, we continue that process. We
Now,
don't want-
is that range balls during practice or anytime they wanna come up and play?
That's just
I don't know, I'll have to
Practice
default to
only,
it.
they weren't free, they paid for them.
Okay.
They just cut me, each team, it's budgeted at $1,000 per team, so it's 2,000 for the year. But basically during their practices, they get unlimited. I mean, I just hook them up with as many as they want. You know, and usually they use that.
So the $1,000 is for usage.
Yeah,
Not quantity.
that's what it was, but now that the town's taking it over,
Why charge
you?
are they gonna budget, you know, because it's like one to the other, you know?
Doesn't make sense to charge them.
Yeah, it charges the board of that, that's what it is.
I disagree, because that's revenue that you can't make while they're there. They're there every day during the week. And
That's true.
The tough part about that is, when they're there, they're taking up all those
Like no
stations,
range.
no
Exactly.
range.
It's a loss of fun.
So
I
that's
agree with
why
you, Peter.
my first couple of years there, I did give away range balls, cause I thought it was the right thing to do, but then on top, you know, my business suffered because they take up the whole range. Now, I had rules, like only 3 could hit at a time, blah, 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 but, I mean, no one's up there monitoring that. So, you know, 6 people hitting and somebody drives up, they're, to use the range, they're gonna say, I'm gonna go to Cody's and so it's,
Right.
And we should charge them.
yeah, well, it's already
I agree,
budgeted,
we should.
it's already,
It's in their budget.
it's already in their budget year after
Yep.
year.
Yep.
So maybe that continues, I don't know if we charge them more, but like, maybe that continues.
Well, there's no more perfect time than now to talk to them about their rate, right? Because we're changing,
Yep.
you know, our operations, so we can at least talk to them, or them talk to us about, you know, a new deal, whatever you wanna call it.
Yeah.
I'll also say, I'm a huge fan of having high school teams on the course, no doubt about it. So,
Yeah.
Mr. Seth, don't feel like, it's gonna be a tough negotiation. I'm sure they'll still be there.
And I'll fill Saul in on kind of what we've done, cause I mean, you know, they have course usage, but it's always been matches, I'll block the tee sheet.
Right,
But practices, you're just kinda at the mercy of it, the availability.
right.
And
Again,
they've always been good with that.
There's no better time to figure out a new policy for these high school teams.
No question. And the girls, their season's coming up.
In spring and fall, right, you know,
And I think the other challenge that we're gonna have this year on the range is that we have a lot of guys come in with their own balls.
Yeah, that's a
Huge
good point.
balls, to hit their own balls on the range. I mean,
Are they yellow? What
No.
if we all have yellow?
no,
So they'll stand out when they have white?
yeah, but it doesn't matter, I mean, I've seen people do the same
But
thing,
we-
it's just like, what are you doing, I mean, that's, you know, I'm only hitting 5 balls, it's like, wait a minute, it's.
we're taking it away from Mark,
Yeah,
right?
well,
And now we're
yeah,
taking it away
it's-
from the town.
Yeah, but I mean, I ran it kind of strange, cause I take the balls they hit, and if they're good, and we put them, I put them in the fish. So I really didn't care that much, you know what I mean, but now things are changing.
Right.
Yeah, but so if you're talking flight restricted balls,
Come on, you guys, you gotta hustle.
if you're talking flight restricted balls going down the road, I mean, truly flight restricted balls, I mean, it's like. I'm just saying,
Just needs to be
before you dive
monitored
into this thing, think this thing through, completely what you wanna do.
Mark,
The irons and woods, you know, have a different ball for
Yeah.
woods and, you know, cause I've seen courses that do that, they have a white ball a certain type of ball for a wood, that's only gonna go a certain number of yards, and
Yeah.
the irons are a different one, it's, you know, two different types of flight restricted balls, you know, you wanna get down that road, or you just wanna stick to the irons, and.
Well,
And now's
those
your time,
are,
all I'm trying to say is, now's your time to start from scratch,
right.
you know what I mean?
We started our conversation, or Jerry and Mark, the three of us started our conversation about it today. You know, what kind of golf balls we can use, where we hit from, all that stuff, machine, all that stuff. So, you know, Mark brought up some great points about flighted golf balls. You know, not everyone's gonna be happy with flighted golf
No.
balls.
Well, so.
But I'll tell you, flighted golf balls, I can still hit 300 yards,
And you're only on the range to get yourself warmed up.
warmed up, right?
Right.
Also, we were talking about irons only. Well, our sign that says irons only is in a place where you can really ignore it. Right? If I'm hitting on the mat and you come up to me and say, hey, did you see the sign? Where am I gonna look 10 yards back? You need signs in front of everyone so they can miss it.
But is it irons, or is it, we went
Yeah,
to.
the policy
The
should change.
concern, yeah.
It's not irons only.
Because,
The sign says irons only.
Yeah.
That's because it hasn't been pulled out.
No, that wasn't
because
there, it got put
they
back in.
changed it
Yeah,
because the
that got all
lady,
gone.
It's always been.
Yeah.
You sure about that?
used to use
Well,
a driver.
That's right, because when we were on the range earlier, I was like, maybe I was saying to Jerry, instead of irons only, say 200 yards max.
Right.
Exactly.
That was just-
Yes,
It's
like-
yeah.
Mark's iron may go 200, but you know yours might go 199, right?
Oh, yeah.
All
But
these tops about-
everyone's irons goes different ways, right? So
Yes.
everyone's 200-yard shot. Those are all different clubs. So
Correct.
you're right. Maybe instead of saying irons only, you put a max in yardage.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
But
Yeah.
We've
the,
done that, but we've done that.
but the sign
We
has
still
to
have
be
broken
You're right.
windshields, so
the
we
sign
still
has to
have
be in
people
a
getting almost
strategic
like-
place.
yeah,
Correct.
You're
right,
kidding me?
so people can see it.
You're
Right.
We have multiple broken
You're
windshields.
kidding me?
No?
I didn't
Go
know
look
that.
at the, yeah,
Broken windows from the.
there was
windows.
Simon's window, her car got broken, the windshield got broken.
Down at the,
Mhm.
Kind of in shock.
And we've almost been hit numerous times all over.
For real?
Oh,
And also
Wasn't
the
my fault.
creek, right? The
yeah.
creek.
No, that-
You can't reach that.
There's no way.
You
Well,
could.
now every lost golf ball is $1 out of my pocket, right?
No,
So-
but you can't reach that creek.
No, I'm just saying,
Not
like
even a
every
real ball.
lost golf ball.
When they
So
go in the woods, like one thing I would suggest too is that they Jerry cut up some of those
The
trees
pines
on the,
down.
on the left side.
Yeah.
by
On the
18.
left side, yeah.
yeah,
Cause like balls are.
you run a lot of leak
You're
there.
gonna find some that are.
Yeah. I mean, right now there's no perfect plan for a range. It's just a lot of heads together, you know, and ideas.
My suggestion would be this, you know, have maybe 3 tiers, like the worst case scenario, you
Mhm.
just use all my stuff because you can't get anything.
For sure.
Second would be you just get mats and you run it the same way, maybe with balls.
Sure.
Because, I mean, again, you gotta start ordering this stuff now,
Now,
because
yeah.
materials, you need something March 1,
Yeah.
just say.
I'm trying to get the range budget
Yeah.
from Kevin,
Yeah,
so we can, because I'm already getting prices for all these things, from
Yeah.
used to brand new to really used to
best
whatever.
case scenario is you get a nice turf
Already-
tee and we get all this stuff,
That
but
brings up a good question though, is that a separate budget, or is that still part of the,
It's part of our operating.
part of the operating budget, so is that gonna be part of your CIP? I mean,
That's-
there's some questions that need to be answered here, it's like.
That's
He's already
Kevin,
started.
Kevin's
Yeah,
gonna
okay,
influence
so that
it.
could take away from some, if it is, it's gonna take away some of the things.
Yeah. This is also why the budget isn't finalized, because these things have to be figured out, so.
I mean, how much did you make a year, Mark? Rough, I mean,
20,000.
20,
Good
sorry,
year.
for,
Okay, you're talking about the range?
Yeah, the range,
Yeah.
20 grand a year.
But that's gross, that's not,
So that's,
my
that's,
expenses involved.
so net, what do you think you're gonna make net
Maybe 12.
per year?
Yeah.
12 a year?
I mean, I
Is that after
I had to
additional
order,
investment?
I had to order balls like 3 times. You
Right,
know,
'cause
balls are not
They're not cheap.
Okay.
Buckets go missing constantly, I gotta order those are $6 a piece. You know, there's expenses involved. I mean, staffing, I gotta send staff out there to go pick it,
Like,
you know, it's,
preference. Because I can't quite understand, because you go over to the range, you hit balls, and you get a bucket. And you gotta come back over there to get on either 1 or 10 tee box. Why can't you bring the bucket back? Either you charge them for the bucket when they take it out of there, so they make them bring that, charge them $1, so they have to make it back. So
That's
I
different.
I
I think you just
understand
need a
that.
nice stand that people can use
Or
to
something,
return the
because it
buckets.
doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, there's,
So the problem is a lot of
Something
people, a
right
lot of
there.
people will get a large bucket,
Right.
they'll hit 12 balls, and then they'll put the rest in their trunk for the next time.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
That's the problem.
you know, all these things, you have to set a standard right away.
Yeah.
Policies, whatever you wanna call it, right? And it's retraining everyone to how you want it to be handled.
What's the reinforcement of it?
It's a you gotta give consequences is what you
It's
gotta
it's
do.
not like
Absolutely not.
here's your bucket, see you later. It's here's your bucket. We're gonna police everything with eyes. It could be myself. It probably will be myself who's gonna police it at the start, so we can start training everyone to not do things that they're not supposed to. It happens at every club, not just municipal courses, private courses are worse at that, right? Members feel very
Entitled.
entitled, right? So these are not new things, but you have to train everyone to follow what you want. So you just have to set policies. Like Mark says, maybe you have a place to put the buckets back, right? So they know that they're doing something wrong when it's not going back there. Or you have all yellow golf balls, so when you're hitting white ones, you're the odd man out or odd person out. Sorry. So these are just things that you'll have to retrain everyone to do. So.
Cause we started out with yellow balls.
Yeah.
But you,
They got
there's
honestly, they got so expensive
Yeah.
that I just tried to get, I would get them from Weber Country
Right,
Club,
right,
that's why
yeah.
Titleist in there, cause I
Yeah.
bought their old balls,
so
like,
we're in contact with Allenton.
I mean,
I know they're
a
getting
dozen
new
balls
ones.
is almost it's like
It's
$9
very
a dozen for,
Well,
well, you gotta
that just
order 1,000 dozen
Right.
range balls.
So it's
I mean, I
expensive
hope
to
you-
stock the
I
range.
hope that the town, they thought that.
So you're gonna lose money the first year,
Probably first two,
the first couple of years, right?
or break even by the third year.
If you're lucky. And that's not even taking into account the construction costs that you need to deal with, right?
Well, yes, exactly. That's why we have to pick and choose how to improve
When?
and when. And
Well,
what
I can
rate.
tell you that the Mets Club's waiting for some numbers
There-
on the pad and the mat.
That will get ASAP, because, once I get, I'm already asking around. Next step is to get the budget and, make a plan for it, so.
So are the plants, the flooring plants still open all year round? They just put in the additive in the concrete?
Yes. And then the contractors, the real contractors who do this year round, they have
Yeah.
like a frost blanket that they cover.
Okay.
So you might want, do you know Billy Street at Whitney Farms?
At Whitney?
Yeah.
No, but I can get to know.
So we hosted the Del Kinney Pro in October, or it might even been November. And he played in it and he saw our range. And he was like, he's got I guess strip turf tee that he used to use. It's a used one. It might be worth looking at.
Anything used is worth looking at.
Yeah.
You know?
He's got this, it's called some system.
Yeah.
Where it's like a mat and then it's like a little thin strip, but they all go, it's not like a big one strip.
One strip.
It's the mat and the little strip that you hit off.
I see.
So it'd be worth calling them.
Yeah.
So Whitney Farms,
Whitney.
Billy.
Was this for Billy?
Billy Street, yep,
Gotcha. Thank you.
you got.
Okay.
You know the owners there,
All right,
nice.
FY 23 P and L. Questions?
Thanks for putting a bunch of the numbers on there.
I don't know that I printed it out. Is this it, the budget versus actual?
Yeah, that's what it has.
No, it's
on
not a P and L, because there's no,
there. It's just the expenses, right?
that's just expenses, there's no revenue. Was there a P and L? Did we say that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
this one.
Oh, I
There you
didn't
go.
print it, okay.
Do you want
That's
this one?
Like, yeah, yeah.
Here, I'll share with
I
you.
have it on my phone.
Oh, you got peas?
Anything stick out to anybody?
Yeah, I got it. See.
I mean, the range is 0, right? That's gonna change for 23, obviously. But also the supplies is gonna change. And this is probably a tough month to look at your utility costs, because there's not much going on.
Next couple.
Next couple, right?
Well, this is year to date, fiscal year to date.
So I mean, we're running at a profit of almost 50,000 fiscal year to date, is that what that means?
Yes.
Compared to, yeah, ahead of last year, yeah. Yeah, we got it.
The revenue's up drastically.
I would say this is probably a good thing.
You think?
Our rounds are tapped out, I mean, you're putting as many rounds as you can on a course, so
Exactly, that's for
the
sure.
only way to go up from there is not to have more rounds, it's. I'm not gonna say
Well,
it.
There's a couple things here that stick out, and as you folks, we all know, it's hitting us all equally, natural gas, vehicle fuel. Vehicle fuel's doubled. We were paying $3 wholesale, I believe, for diesel, we're budgeting $6 this year.
Yeah, the big kicker's fertilizer.
Wholesale.
Fertilizer, yeah.
That's the big one.
Yeah.
What's everyone's concept on fertilizer? When you hit a divot, do you put fertilizer down?
Yeah, if you have it.
Well, we've been putting sand.
No,
Yeah, it's
no seed, no seeds, no
No seed
fertilizer.
is in it, no seed is in it.
It's just sand?
Just sand.
Just
No
saying.
mix.
It's like
Dirt, actually.
It was
On the, with the carts that have buckets and half
Yeah.
don't have buckets,
Yeah.
that's a whole other
Yeah.
Right.
issue, I'm sure.
So that's
we'll be
actually a good
getting
point,
involved
so, I mean, realistically, I mean, and we're all talking, it's all about money, let's just call it what it is. It's all
Yes,
about
yes it
money.
is.
But, you know, what are we looking to do? And we spoke about this, you know, versus getting the
Bottles.
buckets versus the bottles.
We're getting the
right?
bottles, yeah.
Alright, so what do you know, rather than sand, you wanna use something green, I mean, the people, I've seen this green stuff.
That's expensive, the green stuff,
Yeah.
because it's fast acting.
Is that what it
It's
is?
the best one in the market,
Right.
but you're gonna pay for it.
But again, it's about the money,
Yeah.
so, you know, when you keep throwing that stuff, I don't even know what it is.
Yeah.
It looks like from Millstone.
Well,
It's just.
if you look at.
It's not even sand.
It's not even, I don't know what it
No,
is.
it's
It's
fertilizer.
No, it's
It's
not.
starter
That's
The
like
green
stuff.
stuff?
That's not,
Yeah,
the stuff
it
that we
does.
have.
Oh, that we have,
It's like
it could just
concrete.
be sand.
And I don't know, it's like.
Yeah,
I am looking at a different vendor next year for both top dressing and.
Oh, you bought that stuff? I thought you guys made that.
No, you buy that, you specify 60, 40, 70, 30, whatever, and then they manufacture.
The stuff that's in the
carts?
in the cart to fill the divots?
Yeah, we've got divot mix in the bin down at the shop.
No, what's in the carts now? I mean, that's,
I think
I
they
was
use
on the road.
sand.
It's
I
the
think
sand
put
straight from those
sand,
big
yeah.
two.
I think it's putting just straight sand in, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I can see mud.
I don't see that. I see bottles.
That's because every one of them has a hole in it.
People are taking these little zippers out there, I see nickel bottles in there all the time. It's like, you know.
Bottles definitely.
My question is, by the middle of the year, this past year, did the course look like it was beat up?
Oh, yeah. It was fairways, yeah. Divot.
Because there's nothing being put in.
Well, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, they're beat up. So, like Pete said, it does look like there's nothing but dirt in there because like they're cracked, water gets in them.
Yeah.
You know, so we have to find a way, but seed is gonna cost too much money with that, couldn't you just put a little bit in with the sand? And
Yeah,
do it?
what happens, well, a number of things. Number one, the divot boxes that are currently on the carts, most of them are broken.
Yeah,
People take their clubs and they smash them. We all know that. So I reached out to Easy Go. If we want to replace them, we're on the hook. And this is going back 2 or 3 years. And Easy Go said, I said, can I just replace the tops? No, you can't. You have to replace the whole assembly. Okay, what's that gonna cost? 2 or 3 years ago, and that was like $150, $160 a box.
Right.
So multiply that times the number of boxes that are sitting in the cart shed now. That ain't gonna happen.
so
You
now
rent it
that,
out to them for, when you turn the
No,
turn on the
no,
lease?
no.
Alright, so you.
so now that we're starting all over again, we're gonna get new cards. I mean, is there a way that we can,
We're gonna go to bottles.
okay, so you go to bottles, so but people who sign up for that card,
Mm-hmm.
they should be liable for that, with that card
Well,
back then.
Well,
That's all.
That's gonna be another.
that's all up to Saul, procedures.
Okay.
Saul's aware that we need procedures, we need the continuity, he knows all about that stuff, so. Yeah,
It's retraining everyone,
that's
No,
right.
you're right.
that's all it is.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
No perfect
damage.
time.
I
on
don't
it.
walk there, I take a bottle with me, I could live it, I would have a problem with that.
Let me ask you a question, does this new POS have a cart consent?
Yes.
It's going to,
Four up, the one we're meeting
Yeah.
with, that I think is the best one, has the iPad has the form on it that you have to fill out. I mean, anybody, you could put whatever you want on there, but, you know, hopefully people do the right thing and put their name, you
yeah,
know, and everything.
well, it's really,
Do we need a driving license?
Now, is that when you take
It
the
doesn't
car?
scan a license or anything, I
Yeah.
mean, you can put any name you want, any number you want, so it's not full.
Okay.
But you're gonna put bottles, are you gonna put, so I know, we're gonna kinda get into the details here, but are you gonna put bottles out on the course too, or at certain spots so they can?
It's something, you know,
usually you have it
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
nine,
the
the
turn,
start of
yeah,
nines
yeah,
or whatever,
okay.
but, you know, but also our staff have to fill them, you know,
Yes.
so I don't know if I'll be asking too much, but, you know.
Well, the cart staff was doing that, right? I mean, that's
Right.
when they're.
It should be part of the procedure of getting a
You got a
car right.
checklist of stuff, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, those are all, ideas
Plenty
and
of stuff to do when
thoughts.
the carts are out on the course.
Right. You know, there's other things you can do too, like, I know in some of the clubs I worked for, we had, people sponsor holes, right? Let's say everyone in this room sponsors hole one. So every time you play one, you're gonna be putting divots down, and then someone else
No.
sponsors
you
two.
can't do
You
that.
can't do that.
Okay,
They won't let us.
We can't do that because the
do
union will file agreements.
That's right.
no, that's not true.
Well, that's not true.
You can't have volunteers on a municipal course, period, the end. That's not fun.
Okay.
Would they, if you were to go and do that's why we had to get rid of the volunteer cart kids.
I thought it was because they
Yeah,
got.
We're not talking about,
Yeah.
we're not talking about volunteers and you're
They
talking
get a
about
benefit.
barter, that's different.
Yeah,
That's
Okay.
barter, so no, you cannot
You're right,
do
yeah.
something for free golf, that's called barter.
You're right.
this is
But
as
there's
you
nothing,
play.
there's nothing to
Right, this is
prevent,
not on your free
there's nothing
time.
to prevent me from going out there with divot mix and filling divots other
While I'm
than
playing.
the union,
While
you know,
you're
follow-
playing.
While you're
While you're
playing.
playing, you
While
can
you're
certainly
playing.
do that.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Right.
While you're playing,
You fill the
you
divots.
fill the
You fill the
divot on the hole that you
volunteer though, when you're not
sponsor.
playing though?
No,
You're not
that's
getting-
volunteering.
I know,
Right.
you're not getting anything, why can't you do that?
What you're
You can.
getting is,
You can do that.
you can do that? But I was
No, what I'm
talking
saying
in
is,
play.
people saying, and he's correct, we were bargaining.
Mhm.
Bargaining.
Bargaining, yeah.
There was a
For this,
1099
you
issue
You
and
can't
all
do
that,
that.
yeah.
I mean,
You can't
you're,
do that. But like
it's all-
Sal's saying, I'm
But Sal,
out there, why
You know
can't I
what,
shake it
and I'll
for you?
agree with you on that, while you're playing, but Timberland is probably one of the best walking courses you're gonna have in the state of Connecticut,
Mhm.
and a gazillion people walk. So if you're expecting people to fill divots, you gotta give them bottles at 1 and on 10 to put on their push carts.
There, I
so
mean,
that
there
they can
are,
do that.
there's walking bottles,
Right.
Yeah, I have one.
right?
Yeah.
The smaller cylinders,
I have one.
we had that.
Yeah, but you bought yours.
Of course I bought it. I bought it years ago and I would stop by and I filled it up and I play and
I
I
mean, if
filled
we-
it.
If you make
People
a
like
divot,
you.
you put it in.
Yeah, agreed.
If we really care about the course,
Yeah.
then we'll do it.
That's right.
Agreed.
Right.
Mm,
I mean, if
We
you,
have to take care
that's
of
the bottom
baby.
line.
Then my question is, can we allow volunteers, cause there are a lot of people that wanna help.
What's a
And don't
volunteer?
want
Out
anything
of
out of
play?
it.
Yeah,
I don't know the answer to that.
We've had it in the past, we
yeah.
haven't, we've
I
been
know,
told yes, we've been told no,
I
and that's
think-
something maybe
yeah.
to investigate.
I have to
Yeah.
figure out, but
see if you can find a way.
And that
around
is a
it.
Yeah.
contractual thing.
Yeah,
I'll
that is
send you a
contractual.
copy of the memorandum that
Yeah.
we agreed with the union about 5 or 6 years
They
ago.
will have
Scan
that
it
one in
and send it.
place.
you know, I mean, would volunteering,
I'll
would
scan
like
it to you.
a
It's my
divot
only
day
copy.
be
Right,
under
exactly.
volunteer?
Yep.
Is
Yeah,
that volunteer?
That's what we had something like that, days were about, people volunteered,
volunteer,
this is
right?
probably 5 years ago.
Yeah, we're not calling it divot day.
I don't know, that's it.
It's,
Oh,
this
we
is
had
as
that
you play.
beautification
I think
You
you have
do
enough
like
people
one day
that
out of the
help.
week, if somebody,
That's what I told
early in
you.
the morning, they wanna get a bunch of people and just go out and fill divots.
Yeah,
Well, once a
Before
month.
anybody gets out there.
I don't know the answer to that one, right? That to me
I'm
sounds
part
like
of that
volunteer.
volunteer, now, we part of that volunteer.
That's, you know, so. I
It
don't know.
would be nice if
Volunteer.
people would just replace the divots that are like that and put it back in.
I mean, what is
Let's
our
be real,
policy?
Seb. Look,
Do
you
we
can't
put
have
the divot back
engineers
or do you put
everywhere.
sand?
So-
Wait.
One at a time.
Please.
Thank you.
Mrs. Zev said, if people just put their divots back, but do we actually put the grass back or put sand? What's best for sand, so,
Don't put.
Really, even the fresh ones?
yeah, I mean, that's how I'm used to it,
My husband taught me
You
to
know.
put my divot back, I always do.
Shake the bottom.
put the sand.
Put the sand in there.
I've been told.
They get it right there. But you see,
Okay.
Right.
What do you do with the
Right.
divot that's
If we're gonna train
laying there?
people that,
Leave it?
if that's the message that we're gonna give people,
So you better put a video on the.
we definitely need bottles.
We also need a plan and
Right.
use social media to get the word
Yeah.
out. You
Yeah,
know,
that's a good idea.
I'll make you some videos.
You make a video every
Don't worry,
day.
I'll make you some content.
Yeah.
Think you're for an Academy Award.
Do that
No
for
more
Walmart
awards.
too.
I
No
mean,
more.
there is our starter could say something, you know, as they tee off. You
And all
know,
the league people can tell their leagues.
that's right.
Yeah.
I mean, we all have to do it as a community. It's
Exactly.
not like just everyone in this
Correct.
room.
You're right, but you have to give people the tools to do it.
That's the plan.
Like I said, you know, you get 4 groups of walkers, that's 16 golfers, now you're not replacing your divot, because that's not good.
Mhm.
So now you're left with a hole, and you don't have sand to fill it because you're walking, so you gotta give people the tools,
Right.
if we're gonna train people,
Mhm.
and, you know, so.
I would
If
think-
you have the first and 10th tee, if you have bottles,
Oh,
I think
bottle
that
wraps.
just shows people enough that, hey, we care, we
Right.
want you to.
Bottle
Exactly.
and the thing is, you gotta have the sand.
Well, that's.
You gotta have the sand.
Of course.
But you also
All right.
think about people walking off road.
What's
Yeah.
that?
Sorry?
Yeah, just start thinking about people, how many people will walk. You-
Yeah.
You know what's gonna happen.
I mean, there's no way,
There's
sometimes
no way
there's no
around
way
it.
around that, right?
Well,
Just like what Mr. Mark was
The
saying
game
about
balls.
the range balls
That's
and
correct.
buckets. Sometimes that's what people do, right? But when I see that, they're not gonna do it again.
You know, you address it.
Okay.
If you just address it, you know,
That's right.
in a very nice way.
well, yeah, that's the thing, is that let them know there's a consequence.
Well, the consequence is it's our budget, right? Now it's a loss, right? When they realize that it's a loss for the town and the pros start sweating a little more,
And we'll watch it.
you know, it's not gonna happen much, you know?
Okay.
You're gonna sweat, it's not.
You good?
but-
Oh, I meant the director of golf, so.
There's nobody else picking that up. I
Yeah, yeah. I got one.
I gotta say, I like this guy, he's putting it up. All right,
Previous land.
so much for that, open, I mean, we kind of already melded into open discussion, yes, Seth?
I like the 150 markers out
You
there.
like those?
I don't like that.
Why did it take
Why
a year to
did it
get that?
take the whole year to get them out there? They just got them in?
Yeah, we just got them late
We
fall.
should have.
Really?
Is that the red one?
No, they're the white golf balls. They're about, what, 18
They just
years
came
old?
in,
They came in towards the end of the season.
I like
We were
those
working.
things
this season, not last season, okay.
No, the season.
I like the things on the flag when you pull them
Oh,
up.
yeah, so
No,
that
I
they
know.
don't,
That's great.
well, it's
You don't
saving the
like
edge of the
that?
cups, I'll tell you
Yeah,
that.
because you know what, it rattles everything, so if you hit that thing straight on, it's like a boomerang, that ball comes flying out, it already cost me a couple of
You hit your
strokes.
butts.
Oh.
Yeah, he hit a bunch of.
That was-
That thing's down at the bottom of the hole.
What was
No,
that?
it doesn't, sometimes they don't put them in right, and it doesn't sit right, and they're.
Oh, that's true,
Yeah.
too, you're right.
Question is it?
Yeah, we pull the pins though, so we wouldn't know.
Okay.
Go ahead, Seth.
I played the back, I saw them all in on the back
Yes,
now.
yeah,
How about the front? The
No.
front all done yet?
No, the back is done,
Just the back.
the back is done, yeah.
We do have them for next year.
Correct. Oh, yeah, they'll be, if the ground thaws a little bit, we'll be putting them in over the winter as well, yeah.
Excellent.
So they should be ready to go come next spring, yeah.
That's good.
Okay, thank you. The next two are self-explanatory. Jerry, that 54 is in the bank right now with nothing going on.
That's correct, yeah, that's all free and clear.
What do you see as far as, over the winter? What do you think that number's gonna
Well,
dwindle?
I know
down to?
one thing, we're gonna be doing some tree work, I know that, like we've always said, and we've said this before, we're probably looking 20 to 25 grand in tree work from the get-go. Now, the question's going to become, what we're gonna be doing with bridges, and who's paying what. And right now, the plan is for us to, the golf course, when I say us, the golf course to pay for 50% of the bridges and the town will pick up the other half. I do have a couple of people, a couple of contractors getting the estimates right now for different types of bridges, one of them being an aluminum bridge. Another one, a company out of Florida, like I said in the past, they come to the course and they build it on site. It's a wooden bridge, I think that's not gonna be, it's gonna be cost prohibitive, I don't think that's gonna fly. But we're estimating right now with the prep work on the aluminum bridge, the bridge itself, probably in the neighborhood for a a walking bridge, not something we can drive heavy equipment over. Probably in the vicinity of, say, 30 to 35,000.
That seems kinda hot. Peter, what was the one that, remember we went to, Lyman,
Bridges,
and it was
gorgeous.
huge, it was a
Bridges,
big,
gorgeous.
and I'm not kidding you, you could drive a truck over this thing, right?
No,
I mean, Mack
no,
truck,
it's on
this thing
Park.
was massive, and it's absolutely gorgeous, and it was like $30,000. I'm almost, I don't know what,
Yeah, I mean,
that
it's-
that was pre-COVID, but
Yeah,
when you
the
take this
cost
thing
of metal has gone through the roof, it has. So especially aluminum, forget it, you know, to do a steel bridge doesn't make sense, it's gonna rust, it's gonna look like, no, aluminum is
What
forever.
about the pressure treated wood?
Right, well, I mean, you can go back, and that's what the company out of Florida, they make it out of pressure treated wood, but
I don't understand why Timberland can't do what other courses do. We see bridges all the time. And I get it, they've got that round tube with grass on top of it, and they call it a day, and they call that a bridge, and I get it.
no, yeah.
But, you know, can't we, I mean, do we have to spend 30, 35? There's gotta be something better than that.
Well, I mean, we're looking at, I'm not saying it's all etched in stone, this is,
I
you
get
know,
it.
the conversation we've been having. I've been looking at, like I said, and I'm partial towards the aluminum bridge because it's forever, it's one and done. If we go back to wooden bridges, it won't be in our lifetime, but eventually they'll have to get replaced again. As far as the culvert is concerned, that's not gonna happen. We had, going back a couple years, engineers come out, take a look at the backside, obviously, and asking all kinds of questions. Where does the water come from? Where does the water go? How much water's coming through? That's in a 100-year floodplain, that area, that backside. So you can't just go ahead and do whatever you wanna do back there. You've gotta conform to whatever the town dictates as far as.
Is it town, so it's
Army
town
Corps of
mandated?
Engineers or
And,
is it town?
and it may, and we're trying not to, but it may go to that extent where you'd have to get the Army Corps of
Just
Engineers.
do it, I mean, put it this way, just do it right.
That's what I'm saying, Jim, let's just do it once and be done with it, and be done
Just
with
do it
it.
right.
You talking the one by 17, is it?
No, he's gotta do them all.
No, but I'm talking
We
about,
could eliminate a couple though.
no, but I'm talking
How
about
about the one on
17.
13? That's
No,
got,
18.
that's pretty wide.
You have to have two that you can drive an emergency vehicle over in the event something happens. And those two, like 13, like 18, will remain that size, and you need to get equipment over it as well.
Yeah.
Forget the emergency vehicle, but you need to get equipment back over it. The other ones right now, the smaller bridges, we can't get any of our triplexes over, they're only, barely get a golf cart through there, so.
I can tell you, they're dangerous.
They're
and
dangerous.
I cannot believe with all the outings we do and there's alcohol
Yeah, I
out
know.
there that somebody hasn't banged one on the rails.
Right,
I'm sure they have.
Oh, I'm sure,
but,
oh, they have,
You know, they're very they do need to be wide.
And that's the other thing too, it's gonna have to be ADA compliant, so.
Yeah, once you start from scratch,
Yeah.
all the laws come into
Right.
play.
So you are gonna have a railing. To what extent, I honestly don't know, cause I don't know what the ADA requirements are.
But you are eliminating,
Well, we had talked about eliminating a bridge on 14, the left-hand bridge.
definitely.
Yeah.
Do you really need it?
No.
You know,
No,
that was the one we spoke about. Central Kids built the 17 bridge, that's done. You can't do anything on 18, 14, you'd have the one, and 12, obviously, you're
It's a
gonna
one
have the
bridge.
left-hand side. One bridge, yeah.
30 grand is 30 grand.
Yeah,
I mean, if you wait too long, the liability might not cost your,
oh, that's
Outweigh your
why,
costs.
well, that's why we're moving forward with it.
when was the last time it was, not in our lifetime?
What's that, the bridges?
Yeah,
Not in my lifetime, it was
1970?
way before me.
Oh, they were built, right?
No,
Yeah.
when the flood came through.
that was the first
Well,
bill.
they were redone once?
Yeah, they were redone once. But, you know, I had, Mike Ahern, who's town engineer, he came out, this is going back 3 or maybe even 4 years ago. Mike and I went out, cause my concern is the bridges the way they are now, they're set on the mafia blocks.
Yeah, you were talking about.
Yeah, and Mike went underneath and, you know, God bless him, he's under there, it's pouring rain, Mike's underneath. And I'm like, Mike, you see how it's eroding, cause every time we get a flood on the back, and we do, it takes that riprap and starts moving it away, and some of the mafia blocks are now canted like this, so over time, it's just a matter of time before something catastrophic could happen. So what we're talking now is to, you know, remove the mafia, we'll actually build a foundation, you know, like a frost wall, that'll have a footing, a wall, the bridge will set on top of that, and then you're done.
Are you going to look at, like rate them, because obviously you can't afford to do them all in the same.
No, we
The
can't.
one that's most dilapidated,
That's what we're doing
that
now,
first.
and right now, looking, and again, this is up for discussion, folks, but right now, the two that I see, well, I see three actually. The two on 18th to get to the island, they're in very tough shape. And then the right-hand 14th bridge, that's in pretty tough shape. I've already tried to shore that up crudely, the railing, anyhow, the 6x6 railing, so. Those are the three that, in my opinion, are in the worst shape right now. They're not critical, we had earth contractors come out again a couple of years ago, we took saw cuts and we looked at the structure itself. Because the way they're built, they're like 2x12 cistered all the way across, and whoever built them, to their credit, the 2x12s are still intact, they're good. I was concerned that there'd be some rot there, being that it's only pressure treated wood and they've been on for so many years and we've had so many floods and they've been underwater. But you know, kudos to the people that built it, the structure itself is still solid. These 6x6s, the bumpers, if you will, those are in tough shape,
And on 18, on the backside, you know, with ATT boxes, you have water, because of the water being underneath. Where's that water coming from? From the 18?
That comes from the reservoir. That's why you'll see me sometimes take a ride up to the reservoir in the spring before a big storm, see what's going on.
Because the only reason why I'm saying that, because I remember a few years back on the main road out there,
Yeah.
all that washed out one time.
It did.
Back in the state, because I was in that project,
Yeah.
that I washed out. So I wonder if anything running from the state onto our property, would they be liable for any of that?
I think they would be liable, Jim,
That's what I'm saying.
because I think it was
that's what-
only a couple of years ago, and if you drive by, or actually, you'd have to drive by, it's on Southington Road.
Yeah,
A lot of that riprap through that, again, it's a culvert,
right,
washed out,
Yeah.
and the state came and they redid it.
but they only did a temporary thing there, I think it was.
No, look at it, they did
They were
a pretty good
supposed to
job.
come back and redo that over again. 'Cause
Yeah,
we
but
only
look
did
at it
that
now,
temporary.
I think they did, again, that's state, but I
Yeah.
think they did, it looked pretty good to me, it looked pretty good to me.
A while back, years ago, we had issues with the city of Meriden releasing water.
Yeah.
And that was an issue.
Well, that's why, like I said, if there's a storm coming, and I look at the level of the reservoir, and I look at the spillway, and I go, okay, what are we gonna do here? What do I need to do? And there's really nothing I can do, but I like to try and plan so that if he starts releasing water,
Turn the sprinklers on.
if he starts releasing water, then I know we could be in trouble as far as play not going
Do they
out.
give you advance notice at all, or
No.
they just do it?
Quite honestly, over the past couple of years with the drought and everything, no, they haven't been releasing water, so we're good. There is a conversation right now going on regarding the pond, let's say behind that or adjacent to the 18 Island T. Town Fire Department is looking to maybe use that to be able to draw water from in the event of emergency on Southington Road or in that area. So we've had a couple of meetings with the fire department, and they're looking at the pond, they're looking at the depth, they're looking at how much water, and if it's even feasible to do.
That's a small pond, right?
It is a small pond, and that's, part of the conversation as well. And they would be paying for it, they would be paying for that whole setup. Do they make it a little bit bigger, do they make it a little bit deeper, whatever they require as far as gallonage, I don't know.
Don't they have a tank right at the entrance coming
Yeah,
in
they
from
do,
the outside?
they do, but that isn't nearly enough, and I think, I'm not gonna say anymore, I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Okay.
Yeah, but they do sell,
Yeah,
and they do drain that annually, or maybe even, twice a year, and, they refill it, they do. But there is a tank or tanks at the front entrance, yeah.
Thank you, Gail.
Yeah, I just wanted noted, last year we were in the black by 118K. That's 2 bridges. So I certainly hope that, any additional revenue that we have on.
Last year was last year, according to these guys, right?
I know, but
And the year before that, we were in the
Use
black
our own
by.
profit.
well, my point is, the missed my missed opportunity, and this year, if the course is running in the black, I think it's incumbent upon all the powers that be, whoever has the power to bring it up, that this money needs to go back, because there are some significant expenses that the course needs to address.
And talking with Aroche, and Kevin, they do have a plan to get the money to come back to the golf course.
That's good.
I'm not gonna speak for them, I'm not gonna give you a time frame. We know what happened in the past couple of years and where it went, and, cause it had to, it wasn't anybody's fault, it wasn't,
Just the way.
it's just the way it works, and so now there is a plan, and Arosh is spearheading it, you know, to bring the money back to the golf course.
You're on a fiscal year,
Yes, we are.
so your first 6 months of your budget, you have to kind of play it out, see where things go.
Yeah.
We'll talk after the meeting about.
Yeah. You know, like you say, Jim, and there's also things, when I look at my line items, my part of it anyhow, you know, as far as, I know the course, I know what the course needs, I know what
You know
could
what
go
your
wrong.
projections are.
Yeah, and if I look like I'm heavy and I can make it, then I can do something about that. But if it looks like, hey, yeah, we're not gonna make it like in the chemical account, then I gotta look to take from others to dump in to make it, you know? And unfortunately, the chemical costs I have no control over. We don't go to any great lengths to go over and above, we don't, we do the basics. I think we do a pretty good job as far as that's concerned, but,
Jerry,
Yeah.
you look at, well, this is gonna lead into your report anyway, so might as well just keep going. During your report, can you address A, generic chemical, if we're looking at that at all? And B, the status of the Kubota dump truck?
the generics, actually have, and I speak with them, throughout the year. I actually have a person coming next week, meeting with a person next week regarding the generics. I'm not that I'm anti-generic, I'm not. But again, it's the chemistries, I've gotta look at the chemistry, gotta look at the mode of action, and take everything into account, knowing our course, knowing what we're susceptible to, knowing what we do not have to do. So I got a lot of balls in the air when it comes to chemicals. But I do have a meeting, to answer your question, I do have a meeting with a generic rep next week, and we're gonna be looking at, cause my program is, you know, pretty much established for next year, but we're gonna be looking to go more towards the generics. There would be some savings, but then again, I gotta look at my early order program. When I order early order, I get rebates. So when you look at the cost of the generic and you look at the final cost of the name brand, a lot of times it's the same. The advantage of the name brand is that you're getting a warranty or a guarantee with that product, that it's gonna act the way it should. And my familiarity with it, I know what works for us. I'm kinda old school, no, I'm very old school, and if it ain't broke, why fix it? But you have to be open to new ideas as well. So that's why we're investigating the generic part of it.
Thank you.
As far as the Kubota and the tractor work, the Kubota and the dump truck, like I had conversation with Jerry Paradis. We're working with Jim Simons. He's going to be, I've sent him over some dump trucks to go look at. So it's up to him and he and I, not just him, to work together but he's gonna be sending the guys up to look at the trucks, because they're gonna be used, they're not gonna be new. We can't afford new, and we don't need new. So, working with Jim Simons to bring that to resolution. Hopefully that gets done I gotta be honest, the next month or two, you know, on both pieces. I'd like to have at least the Kubota there for the spring, if nothing else. I'm not overly concerned about the dump truck. If it happens in the next month, that's great. If it doesn't, I'm not gonna lose sleep, but I would like to have that Kubota there for the spring.
But, yeah, years ago, I mentioned to you years ago about how the state does. They auction it, bring this stuff up to the.
Yeah.
Up in
Yeah.
Weathersfield there.
Yeah, sure.
And they have the back auction there.
Yeah.
I mean, you probably can go up there and find some new stuff
Yeah.
that you
See,
can
you
use.
know, again, I defer, I'm not a mechanic, so
Right.
he'll send himself, his people, and they know what to look for. You know, I look at it and it's shiny and bright, oh, that's a nice piece,
Yeah.
oh, yeah. Tractors, different story, I know much more about tractors. Mechanics, I'm not bad, but I'm not them.
Municipalities get first crack at that.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's the
Municipalities get first crack.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's certainly an option,
State
that's
surplus.
certainly an option,
Yeah,
you know, that's certainly an option.
You wanna
Before it
forward
even
us
goes to
some
the auction,
information?
the municipalities can look at that stuff.
I can check it out.
Is that right? Yeah.
I know it's that.
Anything else, Jer?
Oh, well, no, I mean, there's a number of things, and I just haven't had time to talk to Saul yet, but I really wanted to talk to him regarding certain ideas or things I think we might need going forward for the course. Trash receptacles being one of them. And again, I don't wanna, maybe I shouldn't talk, but it's something I'm gonna be talking to Saul about. As you know, our trash receptacles are falling apart, and that's just unacceptable. Just, and I'm on board with Saul that, it's all about the look and how you present yourself, and it's the small things that people pick up on, and you've gotta be, to a T. So I'm looking into the cost of a Trex type receptacle where they might have recycle on one side, trash on the other, with an actual lid or something, so you don't have to worry so much about animals getting in, knocking over. The wire baskets are out, as far as I'm concerned. They're expensive, they get broken, they look like hell, you can see the trash in them, it's just not an option. Downside of that is they're not cheap, so I would talk to Saul and say, hey, this is what it costs. How do you wanna do it? Do we do it in phases? We do so many.
Sorry.
Go ahead, who's saying that song? It's raining men? Who's saying that?
I forgot I'm on that thing. I was gonna look up something.
So, I'm sure he's gonna, and I don't know, he may surprise me and say, hey, Joe, go get him. But we may have to do, I'll say, total number of trash recycle, this is what we need, this is what it costs. What do you want to do? So, and we'll go from there. The other thing I'm looking to do this winter is to send the ball washers out and get them strip sandblasted and have them repainted with an automotive.
Why even bother with those? I mean, of course, they're going away, they're getting away from that.
They're doing away with
The ball washers?
Yeah, they're doing away.
Is that
with
right?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Because most people just-
sanitary?
That's part of it, yeah, the upkeep, but people are just walking, they wet their
You
towels.
know what? If you said to me, hey, Jared,
I mean,
maybe we need to
I'm
reduce
just
the
saying,
number, it's good for
there's articles
Jerry.
going on about that now,
Yeah.
that they're just getting away from it because of the upkeep.
Hey, it's a conversation we can have.
Yeah,
I'm all
it's just-
aboard, because right now, you got a lot of ball washers, and
Yeah.
they're expensive, and they're expensive to
It's a
maintain.
main thing, right? I mean,
Yeah, they are. So I'd rather take that money and go throw it into my,
it's just,
which I need.
it's just a
my
thought,
trash.
I mean, because
Yeah.
who uses the ball washer here? Just out of us, how
I
often
use
do
a
you?
towel.
I
I don't, but people
I
do.
don't.
No, I use a towel,
I'm
I wet a towel.
I think we should not to eliminate them completely, but maybe on the par threes and 1 and 10,
Yeah, you could reduce them.
could reduce them, but.
Yeah, you don't
Hey,
have
that's
to
a
go down every
conversation we
hole.
could have, that works for me. That works for me.
We took him out of Ellington.
All
Took 'em out,
together?
Yeah.
All together, yeah.
People use towel, they wet their towel, use the towel, and.
I lose a little
Lick their
ball.
balls.
Where they
Yeah.
have some.
Spit.
Oh, that's cool.
Hey, Jerry, you got plans on number 2 on the left side?
Not this year, but we have too many dangerous trees. Speaking of number 2, on that right side, there's a number of rotten, dangerous elms.
On the left side,
On the right side of 2,
on the right side, not the left side,
not the left side.
where all the rocks are.
Yeah, no. You've got that, you've got 2 very bad elms between 10 and 15. And others in that area, so we're gonna be working on the 10-15 area, the number 2 area. Number 18, the locust, they're half dead and they're becoming a problem. So those are coming down. We have a bad arm behind 14 green on that choke cherry. That's gotta come, not the choke cherry, just the arm, we're not losing the choke cherry tree. And we have, and like Mark was saying, we have in the range, but it's really not, because a lot of people who are playing 18 are going left, they're going over there. There's a couple of bad chokes over there as well that need to go away. I'm actually meeting with him next week, he's gonna come out, rather than just go with a bucket, truck, and a crew of 3 or 4. He's contemplating bringing in a bigger piece that allows us to get more done more quickly. It may cost us more daily, but at the end of the day, it'll be the same cost, but we're gonna achieve, we're gonna take down many more trees than if we had just a straight bucket crew.
Jerry, on 91, they had a tree crew out there.
Center
They had a tree crew out there,
Yeah.
and they would take the whole tree.
That's our guys, that's the same.
That's the guy you're gonna use, yeah, because then that way, he just cuts the tree, puts it right into the chip.
Right,
So you don't have to do no plan
that's
on that.
called the center bogan.
Yeah.
That you can use in an application like that, it doesn't work for us because of, you'd have to have access for a tractor trailer. When they do that and they push that tree through the chipper, it goes into a back of not a triaxle, but an 18-wheeler. So you're hauling, and we can't do that. But what he does have now, I don't know if they just purchased it recently, because they're a big operation. They do have like a middle of the road machine, and he's gonna come next week, like I said, we're gonna go on the course, and he's gonna say, yes, I can get here, no, I can't, and see if that's an option, so that instead of taking, let's just say, a dozen trees down a day, we take down 30 trees a day.
Exactly.
So it may, instead of it costing us $2,500 a day for the bucket crew, it's gonna cost us $5 for the, let's just say for that machine or whatever they call it. But again, you're tripling the number of trees you're taking down.
Exactly.
Yeah. So again, really concentrating this year on trees that pose a safety or a safety, or they are a safety issue to the public. We just can't have that. Getting back to you, Seven, the number 2 area, I'd like to treat that as a project. And that's something we'll, as a commission, discuss. We'll get estimates, we need, whether you agree or not, a lot of the trees that are still remaining on 2 need to go away. They do, if you wanna grow viable grass, they need to go away. You're gonna have to bring in a lot of material and, grading, seeding. So it's a project, it's something that if we decide to do it, it's probably gonna consume your CIP for that year. Right now, I can't look the other way on the trees that are posing a danger to the public, I can't do it, I wish I could, go to 2 and finish that, but I just can't do it right now.
So what do you wanna hold in your pocket going forward for CIP?
I'm sorry,
What do you wanna hold in your pocket?
I'd like to go into the spring with 10 to 15 in my
Alright,
pocket.
if you go with 15, you still have another 15 to deal with at this point. You spent
Well,
25
depending on what
trees,
happens
right?
with the bridges.
You spent 25 on trees, you got 15 grand to play with then, right, at this
Yeah.
point in time? And that gives you 15 in your pocket to go forward with,
Yeah.
rough.
I personally, and again, we could talk about it, and we've talked about it in the past, and I think we're all in agreement. And again, this all goes through Mr. Saul, okay? And
So, what are you gonna do with it? You got 15 grand?
you got 15 grand.
I'm going to Maldives.
Can I come with you, please? We've all talked about the front of the pro shop in that area. And again, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. Unfortunately, before that, we have our entrance which is the first impression, and that's not a good one. But let's get beyond that and let's come up to the pro shop, and now it becomes a safety issue, because people are gonna either fall or twist their ankle or do something, So when we got estimates this past spring to do that, it was over 20,000 to do that, just in the front, yeah. So there you go, there's your 15 plus.
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, so
We gotta-
that would be the plan.
Yes, I-
Again, not knowing what the town's gonna require us, and they may get real generous, and say, hey, Jerry, we'll pick up the tab on the bridges, and yeah,
That would be nice.
that would be nice.
And that little tree that was added on number 11,
Number 11,
is that a donation?
Yeah.
that one on the right-hand side?
Yeah.
Of 11?
With the lady,
It's a real
with the
small
lady Niners.
evergreen tree.
Yeah, it was a donation.
Oh, no, that was a donation, yeah, that was, Scott Sturgeon, his kid.
Scott here? Yeah.
His kid, yeah. I guess they have a tree farm or something like that, and that's where the tree came from, the tree farm.
And-
So, there was a blue spruce back
So you
years
play,
ago.
you told him where to put it in, or you put it in?
Well, he says, hey, Scott, yay or nay, it's not interfering with play, it's a blue spruce. And there actually, like I said, there was a blue spruce back there many, many years ago. So it's good,
Okay.
it's good, it's fine.
And when you do have a tree crew over there, as you're coming into the driveway, where your maintenance part is, because of that road there on the side, the tree look like it's coming out a little bit, because if you pull your car over, you feel like you're gonna scratch that, hit that.
When you come into our driveway?
No, coming up towards the pro shop. To the restaurant,
Yeah.
when you're coming up,
Yeah.
on the side here, the evergreens here, right?
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah.
they're coming out
On
towards
the
the
right
road,
side as you're going
they're
up,
coming
yeah.
out to the road too
Yeah.
far, so they
Yeah.
need to be cut up a little bit.
Those are arborvitae, yeah.
Yeah, they need to be,
Yeah.
yeah, it's,
Is that a state road?
no, that's
town
our,
road.
the
Town road?
town road.
And to that end, those pines are on the left-hand side, or as you exit, they're all going away.
Yeah.
And a lot of that crap on 9, on the right-hand side, 9 is going away. It's garbage. It's just taking away from the look. And if we do, and if we continue with the natural grass areas, the native areas that we've started, it would look pretty darn cool, as if you're coming up.
That's what you're gonna put up there?
Yeah.
Like that.
So that would all be cleaned out. As you drive in, you see the fescue blowing in the
And
wind.
one other thing, up on top of the parking lot is, where that cone is there, where that
Yeah.
washout is
Yeah,
there?
highways taking care of that.
Oh,
They're the ones responsible to hog that out and repair it. There's some kind of spillway there or something like that, but highways well aware of it and they'll be taken care of. They've been. A bunch of stuff, but not really. We've been working on the 4-5 area. So as you know, last year, on the right-hand side of 4, we took a lot of those trees out of there. So we just continued up and we've gone all the way to the end of, or going to the end of 5T. We're gonna build another stone wall, our little crude stone wall. And it'll be, so that area, instead of being dirt now on the right-hand side.
The hump there that you have, the berm.
Well, no, the berm is we're gonna continue that. We're gonna build a couple more there to give it some topography. Especially looking back from 4T. It looks pretty good, but we're gonna continue that. But we've gotta be cognizant of the fact that there's city water running through there. We don't have any as-built, so we gotta kind of guess as to where that city water may be coming from and not interfere with that. But anyhow, if you were in the you know where we did the woods on 4? If you were to just continue that and you were just straight line back to the back of 5T where the blues are, yeah, it was all garbage. It just, oh my God, it looked like heck, and I didn't like it. We've cleaned it all out, we're right to the end right now, and there was all dirt there, so that's all gonna be grass now. We'll have a stone wall, and then behind the stone wall, like you do have on 4, you're gonna have the mulch. But it's much cleaner,
Are you thinking about behind that 4th green, preventing carts from going back, I mean,
Yeah, I'm in
you know,
hopes,
that whole, people just drive to the left and
know.
drive it up.
yeah, I
you
know.
And no matter what you do, it's gonna tear it up, right?
It's something that, there's 2 areas that really bother me, that's one of them. Again, you shouldn't have dirt that close to a green, in my opinion, But anyhow, what can you do? Again, hopefully by building the berms, and if we take them and the way we're planning on coming out a little bit of an angle, it'll stop them, hopefully, from doing that. They may just drive right over the berm, I don't know.
But with the new carts,
I was gonna say, don't they
But
have
with the new
barriers?
cars, you have a geofence. Yeah.
You can make a
Yeah, you're right.
barrier.
So you got your geofence set up, so hopefully a lot of that goes away. That area, then like I said, you know, about 16 and how I feel about 16, but anyhow. So, yeah, that's the plan there. We gotta finish up the 4 area, the berms, the area we're working in now. We were talking about building 2 forward tees, one on 17 on the flat for the seniors I can't say it. We're just gonna build a lower tee on 17 and a forward tee on 16.
Senior women?
Can't say that.
You said it.
What is it, senior men, senior women, what's wrong with that?
Okay,
They're called
So,
forward tees.
we're not, we were.
There's no
they're called.
gender.
That's what they're called.
And there's no reason why there can't be.
A lot of the senior men should be playing the forward
Yeah.
tees.
Yes.
I was looking forward to it.
I'll play 40.
I'll play forward to you.
So anyhow,
So
you're
So
talking
17 and what others?
17 and 16.
But it's wrong. You should have a separate team, separate than the senior men. I think you should. But whatever.
They have the men,
Yeah, I
women,
know.
and then they have the men right there.
It's yeah,
Yeah.
it's not fair.
So when these new tees, you have to make a new tee, like
Yeah, we bring in
soil and
material,
grass.
so we do that this time, we bring in soil, so that it gets a chance to settle over the winter,
Yes.
so that we don't, when we finish it in the spring or whatever, it's not continuing to settle and wind up with it, so. That gets done this time of year. We talked about distinctive, we talked about, the estimates but Saul's in charge of the driving range, doing a great job, whatever his plans are, we'll work with him. Distribution of the CIP monies, the 4-5 area, talking about, like I said, the pointing and capping of the drinking fountains, unacceptable. The trash receptacles, I'll be having that conversation with Saul. The good news is before the snows came, we did get the final green spray down for snow mold, thank God.
Oh, good.
And then we're hoping to go out next week, depending on what the storm does tomorrow, which I think is gonna be a rainstorm.
Yeah, it's gonna be mostly.
We're gonna be going out next week and sanding the greens. And then we're working on replumbing the bases of the drinking fountains with city water so that we can keep them up longer into the season safely. So that if we're gonna get a cold night, but we know we're gonna be followed by 5 70-degree days, We can shut them off, drain them down right at the base, and then everybody's happy. We don't have to shut the entire system down. Cause that's what happened a couple of years ago, Mark, where they called me on a Saturday and the drinking fountains are exploding. Yeah, it was just a one cold night.
Wasn't good.
Yeah, yeah, he called, their 17 was exploding, the Walker's Road, and there was another on the backside that they were frozen and they started to,
Have you decided on the cart yet?
well, talk with Saul about that. I wanna, no, I haven't talked to him yet.
No,
No, I haven't talked to him yet,
Haven't
but I'm gonna be talking in the next, we'll talk next week.
Yeah.
Can we talk next week?
Can you, are they available?
Yes,
Do they have them in stock?
it's okay.
We're gonna
We'll
get.
get them.
Okay.
There's no way.
That's all I
Jerry,
want.
on 13, on the left-hand side.
Yeah.
Is there something going on it that
Yeah, well, what happened was this fall, Mr. DeFazio calls us and says, hey, Jerry, you got a break on 13. Okay. So go in there and, oh, I know where had to recertify for everything. Anyhow, so I said, call the Bill Page, hey, Bill, can you go in and check out what's going on 13? Okay. Big Zit, he says, Big Zit, I'm shutting everything down. I said, okay, shut it all down, we'll worry about it. And it was at a point where we weren't watering anymore. So we said, my gosh, we've got to break in the main because of the amount of water and the size of the uplifting of the turf that we said, my gosh, this has got to be a main or a lateral. Not necessarily a main, but a lateral, a big pipe, a 4-inch pipe, whatever. So we start digging down, can't find it. And then we found the leak and it was, it was a 2.5-inch pipe and it was a good sized break. Okay. While we were digging, we found an old drain. So I says, this is wonderful. It's perforated pipe. Not that it was done correctly to begin with, but it's better than no drain. So I said to him, let's snake it. Let's see where this thing goes. And you can kind of see where it goes. It goes back into the irrigation dock. So we followed it, so we're looking for the outlet for the drain. And we found it. So now we snaked a portion of it and then it got cold and everything came to an end. So we got it working to a certain extent and then depending on what happens this winter, if it warms up, we'll snake the rest of it. And that's gonna help that left-hand side of 13 out quite a bit. That water will be able to percolate down and out. Yeah, it's always a wet area, and I'm like, wow, this is a great find, because again, there are no as-bills to refer to, so a lot of stuff you come across is like, hey, yeah, that's not
The
supposed
original
to
plans, you don't have.
be. No, there is no as-bill.
That should really be cart path only going up to the bridge.
Exactly.
No kidding, once we get the
Yeah.
boundaries.
Yeah,
Boundary.
you can
A
keep
lot of
them,
courses do that for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
13, 17, yeah,
Yeah.
so that's the end of that, so.
Thank you.
How about, I have a question for Jerry.
Sure.
How do we get out the winter with no greens that are
Damaged?
damaged?
Let's see, I don't know, do you know? I don't know.
Well, the strategy, what's the strategy?
The
Some
strategy
courses
is-
cover greens,
Some courses cover, a
Right.
lot of courses
Some
don't,
spray, obviously,
and some
so-
courses cover and they have a tremendous amount of damage, and some courses don't cover and they have no damage.
How about 3 though?
That was the one from
That was
here,
the
right?
only one we lost, though.
But I mean,
Like, is that a
Well,
specific area?
I don't know, this coming year.
Yeah, by theoretically, when
Doesn't get
you,
enough sun.
it doesn't get enough of sun, and that's the other thing, 3 and 5. If I had my druthers, those pines on the left-hand side of 5 green, they'd be gone.
Mhm.
And that'd be one of the best greens. I mean, if you remember in the old days, we had pines on the right-hand side of 11 green. Worst green on the course.
Mhm.
Take the pines down, best green on the course.
Yeah.
You can't put an evergreen within 20, 30 feet of a green. It doesn't work, especially a 60, whatever.
Mhm.
So to answer your question, what is the plan? We apply a top dressing, sand top dressing, and theoretically, or in theory, it's supposed to help insulate the crown of the plant. So you prevent dehydration as well as the freeze-thaw cycle, and that's what gets the plant, it's that freeze-thaw cycle. Looking at last year, we were good, well, last year was a different animal altogether. And we did have a meeting up in Springfield this past spring, had a bunch of supers from all throughout New England, we all got together, we had Michelle DaCosta from UMass come and speak, and she's actually speaking this year again. She's reached out to me and asked me a couple questions, but again, there is no rhyme or reason to what happened last year. We can go back to last summer, the summer previous to last winter, and it was a very wet summer. And people said, well, was that the impetus that started the whole process? When we went into the fall, it was a warm fall, so the plants didn't have a chance to harden off the way they would normally do. And then we went right to cold, and then we got warm, and then President's Day came, and we went from 60 or 65 degrees to close to zero. And that was the end of it. And I truly believe that's what did everything in, that President's Day weekend. So what can you do to prevent it? Do you cover, do you not cover? There is no if this, then that. And I don't care who you talk to, the brightest minds in the industry. There is no, if I cover, I will not sustain winter damage, because there are times when you don't, and there are people that do and they get slammed, so.
I'll tell you what, in all the years I've golfed here, last year was the first time we played on a 10th green for a few months.
Yeah.
That I can
Yeah.
remember, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, whatever you've done in the past
yeah,
seems to have worked.
so,
And like the weathers. Regarding that, with the winter coming up, if I recall last year, we decided that we were gonna stay closed regardless of if it got warm. Remember, we'd had this conversation, and I just wanna bring that up again, because we had a discussion about, we had some warm days one year, and it's like, do we open, and calling people and crazy, and I think last year, we had a consensus that we were gonna stay closed through, I don't know what date we picked.
February?
It was at least through February, we said even if it got warm for a couple of days in January and February, we're not opening. Do people recall that? I'm sure you do,
Yeah.
because we all agreed it's crazy to open
Because
for
then
a
we
few
get a problem,
days.
even with, if you
So-
think about this, you're absolutely correct, with your contract, cause you came in early, there was no compensation for that.
Yeah, it was,
Right, it was just a lot of,
it-
yeah.
so
bonus
we're gonna
stuff.
do the same thing this year then, January, February, closed, period, right?
Yeah, otherwise you'd be putting, and I
You
don't want them on the
gotta
greens.
work,
Right.
you gotta work.
And I got work to do.
No, that's what, I just wanna, I think it worked well last year, you tell me.
Well, there were
Good
no
for me.
warm days, really.
Yeah, right, but it,
But
my
yeah.
point is, if it is, it's
Yeah.
3 days and then you're farting around trying to figure it out. I think there's a lot of work that has to be done in the pro shop, a lot of work has to be done in the office.
Mhm.
So I just, if we can stay closed for solid 2 months, at least.
March 1.
What's that?
Shut it
I mean,
down.
the
Start
earliest-
looking,
I
yeah,
mean,
start
3
looking
days is
at
not worth
Yeah.
the commitment.
Not worth
it. It's not worth it. The longevity, of course, is very important.
Absolutely,
That means it needs time off,
yeah.
right, for the winter.
Yeah.
So, obviously Jerry's got a good plan, but the plan can always be modified. Let's see how we get out of this winter.
Mhm.
And if it happens again, then
No,
we'll figure it out,
Only
but,
losing 1 green's pretty darn good, I think.
Like Mark told me the other day, the 1 green is a big factor, sometimes. You're trying to play 18 holes, right? The 1 hole that you're playing
Yeah, but
can have an effect, so.
I think Jerry was right, I mean, other courses, even private courses lost greens.
Lot of
Lost-
greens
Yeah.
for a lot of
last year was
months.
tough for a lot of courses.
Yeah.
We were,
We were lucky.
after getting through, or discussing with everybody throughout New England, the Hartford area was ground zero.
Right.
Once you got north of Hartford, not so much, and once you went out to the shore, nothing. The Hartford area was ground zero again.
But we're gonna test that theory this year, because we had great weather
We had very
This-
good weather
this
going
season.
into this, everything,
to the winter,
yeah,
so.
Okay, thank you, Jerry. Mark?
Alright. Attached is the revenue summary of the year. If everyone has that, we had a very good year.
Yeah.
I remember when I got to Timberland in 2011, we didn't even make $1 million in revenue. And we almost got to 1.3. So if we reopened, I'm just kidding. But
1.3
but 1.3 million, we almost got there, which you can see that we had an increase of almost $80,000 in
Yeah.
revenue generated.
Yep.
And it's with basically the same amount of rounds. We did 400 plus rounds, but that's really nothing when you talk about 44,000. So our revenue per round was pretty good. It's been much better. So we're keeping that level. That COVID obviously helped us, but we're actually increasing each year in our revenues. So we're moving in the right direction there. I think it's just because we have a very loyal following I truly feel like we have 20+ leagues, we have a large men's club, women's club, senior, lady nine, we have everything, mixed league, juniors, so, you know, we've got a good thing going that will continue going forward. Now with the addition of the range, I mean, and there's a percent of the carts, I mean, the revenue, I would think should be 1.3 mil or higher. I would think easily, and then obviously control the expenses, we break even and everyone's happy. I'd like to give a big, you saw my report, right? Big caps, big welcome to Mr. Saul. Saul, I know a lot of people from Ellington Ridge, I coach a lot of people from there, and they had nothing but great things to say about Saul. And I can see it after really talking with him in person, so I'm confident that we're going to have great things going forward, and we're gonna be efficient in a lot of areas that we may not have been. You know, having an additional person is, you know, especially at the manager level, is only gonna help. So welcome. I do think that we should send out a blast email introducing him at some point. I don't know when you wanna do it, and I would suggest you put something together, you know, explain who you are. A guy that hits limited flight balls 300 yards.
You
I gotta still see it. I still gotta see
Don't believe
that.
that one.
But I think it's important that we let everybody know who he is, you know what I mean, before the season starts, so.
Yeah.
You know, that maybe after the new year, probably a perfect time to send something out. You know?
And if you have any issues, we'll put a title, you better call Saul.
It's got a nice ring to it. You know, welcome Saul. You got a great group here of passionate people. You know, and I told him the other day, I go, listen, the golf commission, there's a lot of personalities, there's a lot of opinions. I said, but they all share the same common goal that they wanna see Timberland succeed.
That's right.
And, you know, you're gonna be a large part of that. Just going back to the season in November, we changed our starting times to later based on the forecast. And I mean, I feel like over the years, you know, we've had great communication when it comes to frost delays. Moving the shotgun starts on the weekends was a huge help in November. We certainly do well each November since we've been doing that. Kevin Delaney and I had met about the point of sale. We're meeting, so I believe Jerry's gonna be there as well, Tuesday. And, you know, I know they wanna get that buttoned up and finalized. With Golf Now, that basically they're getting rid of the point of sale. They're sunsetting it, so it's gonna just go away completely. That you can't use it, that you have to use their G1 software, or obviously we're looking into other companies, which they're gonna do our website, you know, our email marketing, online tee sheet, and point of sale. So we need all the above. We're not gonna be antiquated anymore. I mean, our software, we're still, you know, somebody calls in the day of, books a tee time, we gotta communicate that out to the starter and all that. And now they're gonna have an iPad with, no matter who we go with, all three companies have that feature that the starter will have. We'll be able to see who's checked in and, you know, who's booking same day and all that stuff. So we're gonna be up to date with the times, which is good. I complain about this every year, but it's actually getting fixed next year, is the gift card situation. Still getting calls, you know, we mail out gift cards, and this is the last year it's gonna happen, because no matter who we do go with, they mentioned that you can buy gift cards online.
Perfect.
So that's a good
That's
thing, because I strongly feel that the town is losing a lot of revenue because of that. You know, and it doesn't have to be around holiday time, you know, it could be somebody's birthday or
Birthday,
whatever,
that's right.
and plus
Father's Day.
gift cards online are
That's
24/7, you know, so that could be a big bump in revenue. And I know they gotta use it to get the revenue, it's a liability until then, but I feel like that's gonna be a really good thing, finally. I've started working with like the men's club, the women's club, we've got their schedules just pretty much done. I got the Lady Niner schedule today, and John Rayo with the senior men's club is going to be sending me their schedule, so I'll present those at the January meeting. You won't see a whole lot of changes, but I mean, obviously, I think that has to be approved for the year. I'll start reaching out, you know, the outings pretty much hold the date. If they've had an outing in the past, they'll hold the date for the following year and just wait for the rates to come out. But once we set the rates, I'll reach out to all the leagues and make sure that they're still coming back. I did talk to Saul today, and one of the things that's so important up there is the tee sheet. Like, we just live and die by that thing. And it's gotta be, if the senior men are going out in the front nine and they go out on the back nine by mistake, it affects the 5 PM league. That's how organized it's gotta be. So we talked about it, and, I'm gonna set the tee sheet with all the leagues and the outings in the men's club and just continue to do that. Saul's, we talked, he's gonna learn the system and all that, but, once again, I'm just willing to help in any way I can with this transition. And that's something I'd like to continue doing going forward, just because I know how structured that has to be, otherwise it can be disaster. So, we've talked a bunch over the last few days, and, we're gonna work together. I know I'm still gonna have a staff there, the town's gonna have a staff, but it's not gonna be one of these things where we're just completely separate and not engaging with each other. Like, we're gonna work together to make this go well. The driving range closed on December 1st. We already talked about the high school teams, I wanted to talk about that, going forward. One thing that I did wanna touch on, and I'll skip over some things because it's getting late, are the policies. And I'm not talking about like all of them, I'm talking about like, we should probably examine, now that Saul's here, just kind of do a run through of the tea time policy, because he may have some great ideas there. The rain check and lightning policy, and mainly the rain check policy. And then the card agreement, that's gonna go into place. And 4UP is one of the companies that I really like, the point of sale system. They have a card agreement that goes on an iPad that they can sign, and they can put in their information. That's probably a good thing, so, I think maybe, I know the rates need to be a special meeting, cause that's always a big one. But maybe the January or February meeting, you talk about some of the policies before we start the year. Mainly the tea time policy, I think that's always a good thing to look back on. We did host a large event in November, I just wanted to mention, Golftoberfest, we had 132 players. Ramsey and I have done this event now the 10th year that we've put it on, and it's just kind of a thank you event, customer appreciation type event where we just make it a really fun day. This year we raised money for PGA Hope, which is an organization that gives veterans the opportunity to learn and play golf, and at the end of that program, they get golf clubs. It's a program that just means a lot to me personally, and I know many people. We raised $4,000 for that, for PGA Hope, which I thought we were gonna raise $1,000 and that was gonna be great, and then everybody just started donating, and it was awesome. We raised $4,000. Now that I'm gonna be kind of in a different role and I can do a lot of player development stuff, I'm been talking with the Connecticut PGA of possibly doing PGA Hope program at Timberland. So I gotta get the logistics of it.
A PGA what?
PGA Hope is the name of the program. And again, it's like a 6-week program where veterans, they learn how to play golf. Like, I'll be coaching them how to play golf, and then the Connecticut PGA also has a staff that does it. And then at the end, they have like a graduation. They have like a graduation for them.
Are they feel like with DAV, or
It's
are they part of that, being veterans, are they affiliated
some of
with?
the VA.
No, are they disabled?
Oh,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
They're affiliated.
Yes.
So these guys could be disabled.
Yes, most of them
Most of them
are.
are.
Most of them
Most of
are.
them are.
Yeah,
Oh,
good.
nice.
Most of them
That's
are,
nice.
so just for their emotional well-being, this has been such a great, powerful program. They showed a video at our fall meeting that was like brought you to tears.
I know,
But this
yeah.
is, and he also mentioned at the meeting that it was, we're looking for other locations. They've done it at Springfield and Goodwin. And so I'm gonna look into doing that, cause that's something I'd love to host,
That'd be nice.
for sure. And it'd be good for the course. Really, if anybody has any questions for me, I mean, I know it's getting late, going forward, I'll be working with Saul on a lot of things. One of the things, he's going to be in my office, my old office now, okay, and I'm going to be in the women's lounge, which is becoming an office, and they're putting a wall up and all that.
Has that started?
Yes, they started that project today, cleared out a lot of the stuff, and it'll be good for him because he'll be one with the lightning detection system, which I think that's important, but also, his staff is gonna be behind the counter, and he'll be able to have, a view of them, and the office is bigger, and he'll need it more.
What's the layout gonna be? Do you guys decide on that?
Yes, so, you want me to touch on that? Alright, so the layout's going to be, where you check in now is going to remain there. That counter is not gonna be there, but I'm just saying, that'll be the
That's
location.
the town,
That'll be the town, you know, greens fee, cart fee, range, answering phones, both teams will do it, we'll just call them teams. If obviously the person behind the counter that's doing greens fee, they're gonna answer first, if they're busy, it'll roll over to maybe my staff that's there. The current counter is going to go right when you walk in the door, it'll be just center right there, there's a big slot wall kind of block, and it's gonna be there. So like the flow of traffic will basically be the same, where you come in, take a right, you go to the counter, check in, and then you're gonna walk out on the other side. If there's something you want merchandise wise, you can get it. I don't think it's gonna be too much of an inconvenience. Just cause basically unless you're paying cash currently, if you're a credit card, it's already two separate transactions, so. I'm encouraged that it's gonna work just fine, pretty much seamless. Now the range ball distribution, I don't know what you're gonna do with that.
Right now, it's by hand.
Yeah, you can always do it by hand, and it's not like our range is like Cody's range.
Right.
Right, you don't have
It's
printing
not a
slots.
ton of traffic. So, it'll be a little different. I think the biggest thing is gonna be that everyone comes in to see me, they're gonna come in and they're gonna see you.
Where's Mark?
Cause you have no idea how many people walk in here
oh yeah.
every day, but that'll be a
Well,
good
one
thing,
could
cause they'll
close
get
their
to meet,
door.
they'll get, I know you're not gonna close that door
Well,
unless you have.
Listen, the
if
more
you see
people that
Jim
walk
coming
in there,
Yeah,
the more opportunity your shop can succeed, the more opportunity I can meet people.
Right.
all that.
Exactly, no, it's gonna be, it's all gonna be a good thing. So that's kind of the structure, the shop and the flow of traffic and everything.
and the ladies are planning to flush the toilet. Let's
Oh,
not-
man.
Well,
figure out-
if you don't know already, my office is right next to the men's stalls, so don't worry about that,
And
trust me.
as far as like what Mark was saying about his staff, town staff, as far as customers are concerned, it's Timberland staff,
Yes,
Mhm,
right? There's no difference,
You're right.
no
yes.
difference.
Yep, and behind the scenes, cause Saul's our leader, you're gonna give us our roles, and that includes my, that staff too, but you're right, we're going to all.
Team success,
Yes,
Mhm,
right? Your success
100%.
is my success,
mhm.
it's Jerry's
Yeah.
success,
And
everyone's
I
success.
feel strongly that we now have more sets of eyes on what's going on
Yes.
operationally.
Right.
Agreed.
And I told Saul that,
Agreed.
and especially now that my office faces the card attendants, cause I have a window now. If I told him, if I see something that I know is not going right, I'm going to say something as long as I have your permission to do so, And I think that that's going to be a good thing for our efficiency, no question.
Agreed.
Cause that's something that I have not been able to do,
Yeah.
so.
I've never worked at a course where there was only one set of eyes. Usually you have a lot of eyes,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And sometimes you even have an outside staff manager, which we don't have that, at Timberland.
Right.
So it's even more important for Mark to be part of those eyes.
Mhm.
We got the jobs.
Definitely.
Drones?
Definitely. So, just to wrap up on my end, I'm excited for next year. I think a lot of good things are happening, and I think as long as we get decent weather, we're gonna have another banner year.
Agreed.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Technically, no.
Oh, sorry, I'm not running.
Do I have to give my name and address?
No, we'll let you slide.
Oh, all right. What is the policy on frost delays and tea times?
So, there's really no policy. I know that some places, I'll just say what some places do, which I completely disagree with, is if you have an 8:50 tea time and now 9 o'clock you go out, you miss, your tea time, you can't do that. Which, we don't do that. We don't really, we just try to make it work currently. I mean,
And it
that's something
always
you
does.
maybe try to,
Yeah.
look at in the future, but we just try to get everybody out as quickly as we can. We use both sides. We work with the maintenance crew to make sure, sometimes we can start people on the course you know, somewhere like a, you know, but basically we try to not have many people affected by it,
Right.
you know, to where we're turning them away. And it's worked pretty well. I know it kind of just seems like it's like romper room, everybody's all over the place, but it seems to, as long as we know where people are starting and when they might make the turn and, you know, we do our best with that.
We never had a problem with that anyway.
No, every now and then we'll have a problem where, you know, because generally when there's frost delays, we don't have a starter at that point, it's so late in the season. So we have one person really controlling where people are going, we'll tell people to go to 1 and then they go to 10. You know, and we may have that where they cut off a group making the turn or something, but it's generally not much.
Yeah, okay.
But as a policy, we don't really have a policy.
And every frost delay is different.
Yeah.
You could do tee times, you could shotgun, you could,
Yeah,
you know, reverse shotgun. Depends on how long it is, how many people's waiting, so.
Yeah.
I have just two things. You mentioned policies, we've talked about it a couple times tonight. My recommendation is you all know what policies you need to help you run the golf course. My recommendation is to draft something that you think is viable and come with the draft. It's easier to respond, you know, to something on paper than just to talk and talk and talk. So that's one suggestion, so.
Or send it out before the meeting, then we.
yeah.
And even better,
Get
even better,
feedback,
and
right.
you know, look at, you know, what policies you all want that you want us to know about and want our feedback and that would. Second question I have is process to add items to the agenda. Should we, if we have an agenda item, Saul, do you want us to send that through Peter? Do you want to send it to you? How do, like, Jim started the meeting and he wanted to add some agenda items. If prior to the meeting, we want agenda items, how do we do that?
I know when Peter came into the office on Tuesday, he gave me some stuff to put on the agenda.
Okay,
So, I mean, yes, it's always, like, since I'm so new,
right, that's right.
that, you know, I'm leaning on a lot of experience. I'm leaning on Mark, Jerry, Peter, all of them, so.
Sure,
Don't hesitate to copy me in it and stuff, but, you know, all in all, I get a lot of information from many people, so.
okay, so we can just email you and copy Peter or vice
Vice
versa
versa, yeah,
for an agenda item?
right.
Okay, thank you.
So ultimately, Peter will be telling me a lot of stuff on the agenda to put on.
Yeah, I'm
agenda,
sure he will. But sometimes we think of something that
Yeah.
he may not have thought about.
Right,
But do keep in mind that it has to be submitted to Kay,
a week ahead.
no,
no,
48 hours.
2 days.
Oh, 2 days, oh, okay.
Tuesday, right?
So
Yeah.
you do reach a point where he's already submitted and you can't commit 24 hours.
And we can, right, but we added at the
Right.
meeting,
But you can edit.
which we've done, but I just wanna know the
Just
process.
keep
Never hesitate, if you have something, just email me,
Okay.
just, or
And what's
Peter,
the
doesn't matter.
Correct pronunciation of your last name?
My last name?
Yeah.
Guerrero,
Guerrero,
like
thank you.
Vladimir Guerrero. So I
Guerrero.
have a cousin.
Thank you.
Your uncle?
Yeah, Pedro, thank you.
So, thank you.
Anything
You're
else?
welcome.
Thank
And I
you
just
so
wanna
much.
say one thing,
Go ahead.
I wanna thank Jerry for taking on the interim
Yes,
position and
yes,
doing whatever he had to do to keep it going, so thank you for your service.
Kept the lights on,
Kept the
Jerry.
lights on, yeah.
We have some great here too.
Are you making the next one?
No.
That's it,
This
that's
is
it?
my,
This
this
is it,
is
man.
my
This is
swan
the
song.
swan song, this is
Well,
it.
thank you, Jerry.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Chad,
thank
Jerry,
you.
thank you very much.
Thank you,
Are
Jerry.
we done? Can we adjourn, turn that thing off?
I guess.
Motion to adjourn.
Jim?
I'll second.
Second that?
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
okay,
meeting adjourned.
all right.
Hey.
Thank you.
Have a Merry